Let's see here. This time... Yes. Yes. That looks better. But I think generally how that turn starts, or how I handle that, looks pretty good. So be in range of this guy to deal with on enemy phase. Get a little bit of enemy phase damage. I come here. I hit them with the nuke. And then I get a level up. Like that. And then maybe I actually go here. And I do say something like this. And then we attack here like this and you miss your attack. Or else I'm resetting. Nice. Sweet. Decent few attacks there. Alright, well, let's see. I do want to do this. Kind of hold that down. I don't think I'm attacking this time. And then say...
We need to move.
If I can do a regular attack... Yeah, it looks like I can. I might just need to do a little bit of a heal after. I wouldn't mind doing this. So Arthur has a whole bunch of mana at the ready here again. Okay, he's dead, so I get a better than +1. Okay.
Don't be too harsh.
And then say... Yeah, I'll need to do a decent bit of healing after this, but that's fine. I guess I could have killed with Sunil. Here, let's go ahead and give some heavy block to myself. That's what I'll do. And then with this... If I were to do this, I do still need a crit, unfortunately, here. Just do this. That's what I'm thinking. Go ahead and attack. Then I won't need the crit. Which means I can do something else. I do still need the crit. I can't do something else. Here, just do that. Of course I got the crit anyway. I could have given myself some more light block to start out with. Oh well. Oh well. I'm gonna do this with my camera like I usually do during these, but I guess I forgot to earlier. Was the case. Print is still coming along over there. Is the case. But yeah. Got 35 turns while as many turns as you can get for boss phase. Yeah. I was thinking that that's probably a good idea. Is it fine if I'm in range of one of them? Yeah, if I eat one hit, then I guess it's fine. I would prefer going after Eve, but that's fine here. I just get +7 crit there. Which isn't a massive ton. Here, just hold on to the mana. Do that. Bond available at the perfect time. Here. Healing plus mastery. Okay. And you're just gonna chill out here. Is what I think you're gonna do. Oh, you go after Eve anyway. And you actually landed your attack. That sucks for me. Okay. Well, I can't just shove him into places and expect him to take 0 damage. Well, from some foes, he'll take 0 damage. Ooh, nice. Raise up his defenses for the end. That'll help me. Well, doing more damage than they're dealing him, which is nice. Okay, so yeah, it just changes within that bit there. Okay, I'd say that was a good turn 1. That's what I would say. And then we're going to keep on hearing the beginning of Ascension over and over again with how much I'm going to be resetting this. I'll probably do a splitting into 2 squads thing, though it will be a little bit scary. But I will have those that can nuke on either side.
I'll do it.
Here. You're going to want to go this way in that case, because you always want to be with Zuhair. That's kind of what's going on. Let's see here. Hey, you get to keep playing the save file after beating the game. I wonder who's responsible for that. Here. Here. Go ahead and do that. Get some more light block out of this deal. Ugh. Oh, I can reach here now, though. Bully chip into allowing that. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that. Wait, the bleed will kill, though, won't it? Oh, the 8 bleed there. So this will actually be perfect to give even more heavy block here. Perfect.
I'm impressed, honestly.
That works well. So I guess you're going this way now. And then say... Hmm. Which way do I want to send people here? Is the question of the day. Zuhair certainly wouldn't mind having the... And you wouldn't mind having the mastery up from this either. So sure, you're going this way. And I was thinking about whether I send like a second healer that way and then my healer that can heal herself goes the other way, but... Yeah, I'm gonna need to do something like this, aren't I?
Hold still for a moment.
I'll try doing something like this. Then we can super debuff and do things like that.
Righty.
Here. Let's
Okie dokie.
heal here a little bit.
Let me help.
And then say, you have full mana.
They should be running.
Okay, let's do this. I can deal with that stuff on enemy phase. Let's super debuff you.
Follow my lead.
Like this. And then say, do a little smidge of this.
Get away from me.
Very nice.
Victory!
Looking like nobility there.
I can't quite reach anyone with this, I don't think. Oh my god, I can. And I've mana to spend, so... Sure. Whole bunch of damage to that guy. And then say... Okay, printer's still going well. Let's put this on. And then, meanwhile, here... This is a choke point. Do a little bit of damage here. I'll deal with you properly next turn. I'm thinking. Okay. That's not too bad. I do much more damage to you than you to me. Which is good. Bleed. That was a lot more bleed than I thought it would be. Did I put on more without realizing it? Outside of his ring? Well, I guess I'm not getting enemy phase damage. But they're out here, so I mean... So I can make do with this somehow. Okay. So what exactly am I doing with the crystal thingamabobs? There doesn't seem to be an interact tile. Obstruction impassable. Alright, I still have another turn of absolute zero here. Well. Or I can grant him more mana and he can put even more on. Because I can deal with this another way. Is the thing. Well, just damage then. But yeah, just kill the mages. Okay. Well, they shall die then. This is what I'll do. Here, the big damage one. I've got lots of heavy block already anyway. And then I can get away with spending mana this turn by doing this.
Can't stop now.
I guess if I'd led with that, then I would have had full mana on the next turn. Because then someone would have died within 2 tiles. I literally just battle saves a script. And I think that right side is pretty good. Let's deal with the puzzle of the left side then for now. To start out with. I kinda want to, honestly. Screw it, I'm doing it. You go there in case we need to form a fortitude wall.
Just follow my lead.
And then say...
Too easy.
It's too tempting. And then say, you can get some of your health back.
Time for it.
Assuming I can do damage, I guess I should have checked that first. It'll be fine. Be cool if you crit.
Spirits, strength.
Cool.
Rest easy.
Okay, that works. That's one of them down.
The spirits favor me today.
Floppy work.
Do they?
On it.
Let's see here. You're probably not gonna land that. This is a much better arena than the Empyrean fight. The Empyrean fight was just go across the square. Like the final boss from Dark Deity 1, do you mean? Here? Here, I'm just getting the bleed damage is all I'm going for here. Okay. Well, I can eat it. So I may as well here. You may as well get some mana back. Here. Sweet, the crit. Yeah, definitely an interesting arena here. I'm gonna have to be very careful in the center there, with me having to change up my position each time. I should have disabled the flame infusion. Oh well. It's just a giant square. True. I do remember that. Go around to the different crystals.
Moving it.
Sure, chill out. Meanwhile, over here, we can go ahead and grant some mana while spending some mana here. Over here, we go for the damage one, like that. Line smack. Just like the Skittles commercial. I could always put another Mist of Renewal on or something.
We must be swift.
That doesn't do all that much. Do I land this? Sweet. Okay, more light block from me. Okay, well,
Listening.
in that case,
Take my strength.
go ahead and do that. More turns of Mist of Renewal. I assume it adds on. Oh, no, it's a separate thingamabob. Though, I guess that means like a super heal he's getting each time. Okay, you have lots of mana now, so extend this. Funny, since FE Engagement's final boss was the same as Dark Deity 1's final boss, literally same mechanics and giant square, yeah, just run around, avoid the thing at the center. And all that.
They're mine.
Run around always. I don't take any damage. You take a little smidge of damage, but more important than that, you're baited out a smidge. I'll deal with them shortly. Is this guy not? Oh, okay, well. Sure. Sure, then. Okay. Let's see. Whoop, I did not really need to do that. So... I can deal with these couple of guys. How far can I yoink from? There. And that'll be a spot where both of them will be baited out, so that works fine. So let's go ahead and deal with you here, while they'll be baited out. Well. Here, how about you get your health back this way?
I've had enough.
This is what we'll do. Wow. There we go. You're fully healed.
Served.
I don't have to use her MP for that. May as well here now. Get some big bleed on there.
Death will purify you.
Okay, and then say... Give this a go?
Inexorable justice.
Well, you die. I'm glad that I didn't get another crit. Save a little bit of mana there. Yeah, you just want to build that mana for now. 5 will go to waste if I don't spend some, so go ahead and refresh enchant weapon. Get a level up.
Go me.
Ooh, nice.
Cute as a button to boot.
Let's see here. So that dude, this dude, just go for damage 1. Money 1 isn't gonna do it. Damage 1 does a whole lot. In fact, you're in the more tricky position, and I can attack from 3 range here now. You're inheriting Reardon's ring. And then we come here.
Yes?
We maybe come here actually. We Lunar Reeve. Ah, I'm allergic to Lunar Reeve apparently. Oh. Ah, screw it. Whatever. Just take the guarantee. Good thing I took the guarantee there.
Damn good technique.
Okay, well. Can't exactly bait them both out, and I was like going to like the weirdest position ever. So, we're going here.
Listening.
You don't have any health to heal there. Okay. This is fine. Over there. Oh, you have a lot more accuracy than I thought you would. Thank you, RNG, for not letting me get hit by that. That was actually significantly scarier than I thought it would be. Okay. Well. Alright, that's fine. I do kind of wish that there was, like, an animation kind of effect to these. Oh, yeah. We got the crystal. Gain some Dark Deity 1 vibes here. We got crystals. We got Edge of Ascension. I got a printer ready for a color change in a sec here. I'll do that on enemy phase.
Be decisive.
Let's see here. Cheap option. You may as well spend mana. But how about we do this?
You can't stop now.
Spend some mana that way. That's what I will do instead. I guess I spend 5 points less. Yeah, well,
This'll be fun.
this works for banging them both out.
All eyes on me.
Like that. Where's my severe block at right now? Damage taken by 52 for 2 attacks. Should I put on a little smidge more? Because some of them are hitting pretty hard. So just to make sure that for 2 hits I'm not taking any damage. Like at all.
Our will
That works
is
there.
indomitable.
By 78 for 2 attacks. Sweet.
What is your bidding?
More mastery for you. Okay. So they turn in orange. Okay, get you some crit over there. Hmm. No battle save has caused a visual glitch with the crystal? Oh.
Coming.
Let's see here. Let's do this.
You're done for.
And then you'll probably attack the archer in a sec. I'm gonna have you do this, I think. You're probably not landing your thing. It'd be nice if I was doing some damage. Maybe I should have put on the... Wow. The thing that guarantees that I do damage, but it's reduced. That would have been a good thing to do for this map, I'm now realizing. Oh well. Here. Now we kill.
What a day for a fight.
Cool. So you stay at full health and you keep your buff then. Which is good. Okay, well.
Okie dokie.
Now we do a little bit of this and see how much it does. You'll be fine if one goes after you, right? Wow, you're not doing a whole lot there, are you? Well, I guess the bleed will kill.
You need me.
I'll have to eat an arrow to the face. Unfortunate. I won't be at full health and have that extra mastery anymore. I'll sort that out shortly. You can probably take one, and then one is baited out. I can always licky lasso the other if that's what it comes down to. I'm sure that'll be okay. Now give me a sec here. Oh, the camera's not going to follow me until I turn off the tracking. I'll level up. I can always temporarily turn that on, and then there's a little bit more stuff going on. Let's see. Yeah, that's something. I lived. So, that's the important thing here. This one I want, I think. Have it not crash this time, unlike last time. That kinda sucked when it did that. Oh, player phase, give me a second. I might try to do this, actually. Wait. I can't see what colors things are set up as. Wow. Give me un momento, bear with me. Like this. If I can line it up in kind of the direction that I want here. If it even holds like that, it might not. Okay, so it's turn 6. I've got lots of turns here. Give it a moment. Okay. This will be the one Fragapalooza Smash trophy that was actually printed in one fell swoop and not glued together pieces afterwards because it failed partway. So this one should hopefully be looking pretty clean. I mean, these ones look pretty clean as well. You can't really tell that they're glued unless you look close. Okay, go ahead and load that. Yeah, once again, one of the events that showcased this very game, we're printing trophies for that event. Let's see here. So, I could probably Lunar Reeve some dudes. Oh yeah, so I guess visual glitch where it shows that it's not quite lit up. Okay, well... I'm not doing my big explosion or anything. I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't Licky Lasso. Maybe not. Instead,
Who's next?
I should probably do something like... Big debuff, you're not landing that. It's fine. Ah, allergies. Damn, you landed that. It's not fine. But that's how I'm leading the turn, so it's not a big deal. Okay, Command Wyvern. I've gotten so much use out of Command Wyvern.
Follow my lead.
Dang it. Well, that didn't quite go how I wanted, though.
Coming.
Here.
Let me help.
Something like that. Give this a go. And we'll see. I might have to redo the turn to get Eve to actually land something.
Justice is served.
We'll see if that ends up being the case. Here.
Inexorable justice.
Sweet.
Our justice
That works.
is divine.
Okay, and then it's important that your health is full so that you get the mastery bonuses. Okay, get in here. Meanwhile, over here, should be pretty easy peasy to deal with a couple of them. And then say... you could always get some mana back. Let's see here.
Do it.
Let's say I went ahead and Lunar Reeved you. You just die. Try to bait out some more guys. Like, I don't know if I need to go after them yet here. I may as well, I guess.
Let's dance.
Whee! And then say... Yeah, you can get some mana for now. Meanwhile, here... Oh, if I land that. Maybe you're not getting mana. Never mind. This is pretty cheap anyway. Just go for it. Money monkey. Ah, allergy's getting really bad because it's one of those times of a stream. Okay, well... Chill out. You ready here or something? I don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna need to go. Take with that other mage over there, and then maybe something will happen in the center. I guess we'll find out this turn. Ow. Darn you. Okay. Battle save. Like this. I wasn't expecting Edge of Ascension to be playing here. The, on my starting soon screen, my this screen here, Edge of Ascension was actually the theme that I had playing, because I was like, oh, that'll be a fitting starting music to have playing. Didn't realize it was going to be what we were actually going to hear during the stream. You've got so much mana all the frickin' time. Go ahead and do this.
You let your guard down.
Miss. Nice. No additional hits or anything. Nobody has any skull effects on them, I'm surprised. But I guess that's just because they're all so dang strong as is anyway. That they don't really need it.
Moving it.
Well. Sure. If I'm lucky, you miss. I thought it said 60 in the combat forecast. Oh, it is 60 now. After debuffing you with your accuracy.
Justice is served.
I'll wait a turn after killing the final mage. Okay. Well. You get a power boost if you're at full health, so I gotta do that. And then we can do this. Many stabs. I don't know how this trophy is gonna turn out. I loaded up a 3-color filament that's like 120 degrees of purple, 120 degrees of blue, and 120 degrees of green. I figured that that might make it look kind of like a real Smash Ball, but I don't know. We'll see here. I'm also gonna do that again. I think's. There we go. Ish. Yeah, you're gonna be baited out. That works okay.
Here and now.
Mm.
Nowhere
A tiny little smidge of EXP for the cost of only 5 mana, essentially.
You need me?
I could.
You need me?
Not worth, though. We have 5 people that are gonna jump on this unit when they come over, so... definitely not worth there. Okay, well, I mean... Sure. Do a smidge of that.
it's time.
And then say I land this, I get even more light block out of the deal. I guess I should have moved Arthur over first. Keep on forgetting here. Oh well. Do this.
Stop now. This'll be fun.
And then we get even more absolute zero. It never runs out. It's beautiful. I'll put some more Missa Renewal on too. Sure. This team is kind of looping around now. I don't know if I'm gonna need to be around the top for anything, but we're heading over there. Yikes. You could potentially do some big damage. I'm glad both 56 misses. Missed. If this was Fire Emblem Binding Blade, they would have both landed. Okay, so you're just there. Shadow. What's the point of these guys up here, then? I have a feel... what would be the point of these guys, unless there was a reason I needed to get up here? What do you bet I take out these guys, and then something appears over here? But yeah. Okay, that makes sense there. I imagine Gwyn is probably one of them. Arthur's probably another. Alden's probably one. Oh, look, now it's properly updated there. So... I should probably get to heading over there. That's what I should probably do. So you guys don't move. Here. It'd be so funny if I could... wait.
On it.
Oh,
Who's next?
they thought of that. Shadow takes damage to have Leonid, so that always dies first. Oh. Well.
Death will purify you.
Oh, sweet. Thank you, RNG. That's pretty cool. Alright, well. Here, go ahead and do this.
You have my ear.
I don't know if I need to conserve mana. If I crit, I crit.
I'm here to die.
Just leave it activated so I don't have to worry about reactivating it on a future turn.
Coming.
Here. We need health. We can very, very much use health here. Heal ally. And then... now I can start doing this. Wait, how much health do you... oh my god, I'm just now seeing. What? Can he not attack there? What? Okay. That's weird. That seems very odd.
On the path.
Well, we're just gonna pull back here. You want to keep spending mana.
Steady.
That's what you kind of want.
We must be swift.
More mastery for you, so you hit even harder too.
Are you watching,
Oh, cool.
old friend?
Cool. Yeah, that's a lot. 2,500 there, it looks like. I'll be able to get over there next turn. I should probably grant myself some crit here.
We're in this together.
Yeah, at least he's bound there. Look, if you want to come over this way, then come over this way. It doesn't matter, dude. Come join us. We gotta start booking it over here. Let's keep chipping away at you. Okay. Ah. That's what those are. I gotcha. At least it's not like every turn. If this was Fire Emblem Engage, that would totally be every turn. Or not every turn. Every tile being used up there. Oh, and he switches position. Alright, well, it's... yeah, they just don't do this bottom thing. Weird.
I'll do it.
I assume there wouldn't be dialogue if I went into
I'll do it.
into doing this. So just for the sake of seeing it,
The sounds. I heard them in Mirador too. Were you behind the demons as well?
we're gonna aggressively walk at each other.
Curious. At a time like this, yes, to a degree. We facilitated their entry. We did not arrange it.
And whoever arranged it must have
Ah.
arranged for all this too, right?
You ask a lot of questions.
Well, I just wanted to get the dialogue here.
What is
But
maker? Are you quite finished?
Once I'm through with you, I'll find whoever did this to you and put them down too. I promise.
Is
oh, that's
that
probably gonna be what's gonna appear at the top, isn't it? Ah! Too bad I'm allergic to that.
Pity. I hate you more than I've ever hated before, but just look at yourself. Look at what you've done. It's sad. You have to die. I have no qualms with being the one to do it, but seeing you like this, how pathetic you ended up being, it makes me angry. Reardon, my brother, died for this, for you! You're not worth his sacrifice. So after I put you down, I'm going to keep going. I will avenge him. Killing you will just be the start.
Then take the first step, boy. Or die trying.
See what his animations are like. Okay. I think Kira's were cooler.
Happily.
Let's see here. Would I be able to... Would I still get dialogue here? Nah, I don't know. Because I assume that Alden would probably have unique dialogue, but... Here. Do this.
Gwen Sildell, the oh so persistent thorn in my side. Come at last to die by my hand. Have you naught to say? Has your passion truly waned so with but a taste of war? I thought you better than that.
You know what I hate most about Kings? The way none of you ever
Yeah,
face
it looks
the
like.
consequences of what you've done. Every new mistake lands at the feet of your underlings, and every sin lays
Too bad I
waste
didn't
to
bring
your
Visarion.
feet while you sit pretty on your throne. It makes me sick.
Totally should have.
Then be sickened. There are only two kinds of people, Gwyn. Blades and shields. One exists only to protect the other. I am the blade that will cut through history and forge a new future. But you, Gwyn, you are just another of your father's shields.
It must be a comforting thought to think all the people you've hurt were born to be hurt. But you're right, you know. I am a shield. I will protect my family. I will protect everyone. I've already failed once. Never again. So just shut up and die!
Sometimes parts of the voice acting are pretty quiet there.
Leave or die.
So just die, and then she says leave or die. Ow. Watch this be the best level up ever. In the timeline I'm about to erase. Well, it wasn't, but I just kind of wanted to see the dialogue there. So now I'll play a little bit more optimally. Let's see here.
Good call.
This is a lot of guaranteed damage. And I think I'm gonna take it. Or I can always build up mana. I can have a whole bunch just in case I need to do something with these guys.
Good call.
Because then I'll gain 20 this turn. Maybe I will. Out of curiosity, I'll be fine for a round. Can I super debuff the shadow? I sure hope so. Wait, if this is the beginning of the turn, I can always reset for until you miss. Well, I can do. But yeah.
Steady is the blade.
Yeah, lots of turns here. Which I'm grateful for. Looks like I'll level up no matter what there. I might be getting a worse level up by doing this, but... if I can super debuff the shadow, then great, thank you.
Justice descends.
Okay. Little smidge of damage. Dang it.
am
Ah!
the avatar of intellect's justice.
You know what? We let it ride. Is what I think we do.
Hold still for
I'll
a
heal.
moment.
Okay. Well,
Good call.
yeah, chill out for a hot second here. They are not within 2 tiles.
Alrighty.
Just get heading in this way.
I'll do it.
Be a little bit out of range here. How about? Yep. We ball.
Be gone.
Bam. Right on him. Even if it goes to the other Dudo. You'll just gain mana this turn, I think. Here. Give him more damage. More mastery.
On the path.
Oh. Does that mean that I'll be attacked by 2 on the next turn? I can eat a whole round.
Be decisive.
Dang it. Whatever. I probably shouldn't have had win there, huh? I don't know. Chill out there.
Let's dance.
Go here. That guy should die on enemy phase. I figured it out. Nice, that missed. Sweet. Okay, it's gonna go across so many colors, that health bar, isn't it? Well,
Better luck next time.
I guess every time he hits, he's getting bleed. Okay, was there more dudes that spawned? No? Alright. Much easier on the reinforcements than something like FB Engage that doesn't know the meaning of restraint when it comes to reinforcements. Okay, so you're doing weird things like that now, huh? I see how it is.
You need me?
Yeah, so only one would be able to...
Hope this works.
Okay, here. Let's do that.
Death comes.
Let's do this. This'll be fine.
Follow my lead. This will.
Just put lots of debuffs on there. Okay.
You make it look easy.
And then say, you can put on some debuffs too. Yeah, gotta do the dance. Seems like. That'll be what we do here. Oh. Well, you can always teleport and attack from somewhere else.
Yes?
Meh.
Be gone.
Here, do a smidge of that. You chill out over here for now. You have lots of mana. Just go for the big damage one. Dealing 125 extra damage. Okay.
Hold nothing back.
Yeah, what you gonna do here, huh? Put on more absolute 0 next
I'll
turn.
see it done.
Here, go ahead and do this. I
We're in
think.
this together.
Just chill in the plus.
Sure thing.
That's not that much damage back, so go for it. I might have to heal him up on the next turn just to get that mastery buff again. So I may just have to do.
Here and now. Without hesitation.
I guess I can do this.
You are nothing.
Which isn't a bad idea in this situation, I think. Will it bleed them both? Hell yeah. Sweet. Well, I'll do a decent smidge of damage, but I'll also heal it back so that you won't be able to, unless I miss. Okay.
Looking like nobility there.
So I can eat one more hit if I need to. I think I honestly just chill out here for now. Get full mana on the next turn. I'll have to deal with those guys. Oh! I'm in range of you guys. I didn't even realize. I'm dead now. I'm so dead.
Tell me, this mad power is not one you would have sought for
The music
yourself.
got louder, it feels like.
You and your new patron meet.
I can barely hear them over the music now.
And as ever, by prayer and by faith.
It's so loud now!
Don't play games with me. To die is
Sounds like the music got more intense. Which is cool.
I've heard much about you, Alden. The things you've done, the places you've seen, the power you wield. Perhaps it is the nature of the powerful to seek to transgress, to topple what few thrones yet hold sway over us.
No! I have only ever used power as a means to an end. To help those who cannot help themselves!
Then we are alike. In a world of sputtering candles, we are like bonfires. We bring light to a dark land. It is rare to meet a peer in this regard. What a shame that I must sabotage your name.
Careful now. You know what they say about playing with fire. Because I will burn you.
Alden's about to die. Miss! Oh my god. Imagine, though. It was 100%. I was looking over at Alden's hit rate. So, yeah, the you guys that I gotta remember exist.
You need me?
Yeah, if I just switch around my stuff here.
Hope this works.
Methinks.
They should be running.
And then I go ahead and I do...
On it.
You can chill out here for now. I'll do
Fall
that.
to your knees.
Sure. And then... more poison!
Just follow my lead.
No, I didn't get the crit! Come on!
We'll purify
There it is.
justice. Descends.
Sweet, the ricochet.
This will hurt.
Oh my god! Alright, well that went great there, didn't it? Just need these guys to not absolutely destroy me. That'd be really great if they just didn't. Okay.
Good call.
What? I can't attack there? Really? Huh. Well, that's awkward, isn't it? Hmm.
You're done.
Go ahead and do that. Get some damage here. Maybe Alden will get some enemy phase damage. Or something or other. Yeah, theoretically. I'll just need the best of RNG is all.
I'll see it done.
Here, chill out here for now. And then say... go here. More damage for Arthur. He'll do a Lunar Reeve next turn. I think he's going to go after these guys so he can regenerate some mana off of them. Is what I think I'm going to have him do. Pew pew.
Our will is indomitable.
Okay. So then we do this.
Sure thing.
Yeah, I think... well... chill out. I'll take a hit on enemy phase, then I can heal up on player phase, potentially. Or something. I don't know, we'll see. Alright, well, what happens now? These guys come on in. These guys come on down. Damn you!
You have been found wanting. This will hurt.
Please. Please, other guy, miss. I hate this game, man. What the hell? That would be not half bad if I get the RNG that I need. That honestly would be very not half bad at all.
Hope this works.
Hmm.
They should be running.
I'm going for it again.
You let your guard down.
Yeah, you miss. Wow, nowhere near the good RNG that I got last time there.
Here and now.
Well, go ahead and do this so you're a little bit less threatening. I do this.
I've had enough.
Here, I'll lose some health. Not too much. Because I heal some back. Maybe I'll top up that health anyway.
Hold still for a moment.
That's maybe what I'll do. I come here. I do the Lunar Reeve.
Guide me.
More mastery.
Strength.
And then big damage like this. Okay. More crit. Wow. More crit, I say. Chill out. More crit. Chill out. Chill out. Okay, just don't get screwed by RNG with the top guys. Miss. Damn you, game! Miss. Oh. But now does the actual boss attack. Oh my. Well, that's really good as long as I don't die to the boss now. Ah! Okay, well,
Who's next?
I don't know. Change it up a little bit here.
You are nothing.
Like this. Do this.
Death comes.
Oh. If I could go into a tile that bait out one specifically, maybe I'll have to do that with Valeria then.
Who's next?
Maybe what I'll have to do here. Here, I'm super debuffing you. It'll be mostly fixed damage with the other squad anyway. It would have been nice if I got that earlier hit.
Well done.
Let's see here. Yeah, that's good with him weakened. Don't have to worry too much there. Would still be good having Alden at full HP, which he is right now. Yeah, because of the attacking a poison enemy. Let's see here. Do I even want to? I can always regenerate some mana here. Here, chill there like that.
Need to move.
And then say... Yeah. Still do this. I was just thinking about changing up the unit order. Have Hayaran grant him some extra mastery first, but it will be kind of weird. Let's see here. Big damage. Pew pew. Chill out here. Grant yourself some extra crit. Since you have some mana to burn, grant yourself more extra crit. And then I guess chill out and go bleed some people next turn. Is what we'll do. Okay. That's fine. Nice. 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 That's pretty good. Ow. But that's the last hit that I can potentially take, so it's fine. No risk of dying this turn. Ugh. At least I'm hitting harder. Okay, so it's the same thing but the other side now. So about those bottom guys, huh? I can always stun one of them if I really need to. I have lots of fortitude, so I can eat some things if I need to. Well,
They're mine.
Why is that impossible? What?
I'll do it.
Here, I'm doing this. Then he'll get some mana back when he dies. Units will die on player phase. If that includes the foes, that'd be kind of cool, but... We do this, and we do that. A bug tile. So that's why they couldn't attack that.
Hold nothing back.
But then, I'm gonna have to get that guy from afar. I don't know how it hasn't been Oach either. Yeah, I know that was, that would mean patched, but Oach is pretty funny. I will say. Hmm. Here. You're doing this. And I'll grant Arthur some mana there. A little smidge of it, at least. Hmm. Oh, I so want to heal you, but like... Hmm. Chaining up to 3 tiles away, huh? And I'm for sure critting this. I kind of want you to be doing damage here. Okay, let's see it. Let's see here. 102. Ouch. Because there goes the light block. Oh, wait, if I get double rounded on the next turn, then I'm just dead so anyway there.
I'm moving. Dance with me.
But you can... Oh, crap. Well, hold on. But then I do this.
Take my strength.
Oh, that doesn't count for Eve. I was hoping it might jump the whole 3 tiles away thing. Crackhead time.
Hope this works.
Okay.
I'll have to be careful with this new power.
Do they not attack?
Without hesitation. You have my ear. Yep.
Let's see here.
You're done for.
Put some bleed on. This will be fine. Especially if I crit here. Oh my god. That's super fine then. Sweet. Well. Let's see here. I guess I could have done that first. You would have dealt less damage. You honestly just want to not risk things right now.
This will be fun.
You're gonna chill out, I think. Ah. Yeah. I did mess up there.
Can't be happening.
Yep. I gotcha. But that's fine, because I can just crackhead here. Like this anyway.
Hope this works.
Get rid of that guy. I'll do the same thing in the lower section that I did, I think.
Careful with this new power.
So go ahead and do this. Where I do that. And then we come here. And we, not that one, do this one to do wicked damage. Skittles. If anyone knows the commercial.
Coming.
Let's see here. Go ahead and bleed.
Done for. I got this.
Yeah, you need to commit to just... Here, chill here. Finishing that guy off, because it's a little bit weird otherwise. And then say...
Death comes.
I then... do this. And he's probably gonna miss or something.
Fall to your
I don't know. Here. Miss, please.
You let your guard down.
Nice. Well, missed one, but that's okay.
Whoa.
And then I can come here and do this. And then you're pretty good. I would say. I can come here and do this now. Then I can get even more bleed on you. Yeah, for 2 combats. Just making sure that, or the bleeding. Yeah, after combat for 2. Just making sure that the one that was on there before isn't about to run out. So Cassandra can still make use of that in a second. Yeah, he doesn't care. More bleed. Lightly bleeding. Well, I thought there was the heavy bleeding there still. Oh, whatever, just chill out then, I guess. Then if I get a super crit, it'll probably be on enemy phase. That's what I'm thinking here. Yeah. She wouldn't mind that. She's already critting a decent bit at a time. Then chill out. Do I want to attack? Yeah, with him weakened down, sure. Okay. Yeah, that works great. That works pretty good, I'd say. Alright, well. Man, the sound effect is loud. Ooh. Nice. Yeah, so they can both attack. Nice. Both of them are very under control situations. 2 more dudes. I'm surprised it's not using these tiles yet. But I feel like that's an omen of things to come. Alright. Probably try to bait out that top guy this time. So... yeah, probably have someone here. Something or other. Or not there, I guess. Eve can probably take it. Most likely here. Here. Poison. No ricochet or anything this time. Okay, let's see this.
I've had enough.
Let's do something like that.
Take my strength.
Yeah. You want health. You very much want it. An ironically well-designed fight. Yeah. I actually kind of like it. I have to think because there's people from the top and bottom here sometimes. Here, more of this. And then say... if only he was guaranteed attacking first, then I'd get a little bit of a heal off of attacking the poison target. And I'd be at full health again. But alas. It could not be as such. Look, this will be fine. Don't worry about it. Look at that. I'm very glad I granted her additional crit. This is putting in some serious work for me. Okay. In fact, I might just do it again because of that.
We're in this together.
Rather than having Gwyn attack herself. Yeah, you've still got absolute 0 here, so you don't have to worry about any damage back. So you're do a little smidge damage to him. Well, more than just a tiny little smidge. And there'll be some bleed, too, that contributes.
Unnecessary end.
Okay, so... you have lots of fortitude, so you can be the one that goes closer here. What to say? Do you want to gain mana? Just in case of these guys in a sec.
We need to move.
I'll try to go close to that top guy afterwards, so I gain some mana off of his death.
Always moving.
What I think I'll do. Big damage one. Okay. Mastery up. Hell yeah!
Damn good technique.
Okay, you just chill out for now, I think. That's what you're gonna do. Get some mana back. Sure. Sounds good to me. The health bar is starting to look mighty low. It's 2:24 in the morning, I'm just now noticing. Of course that landed. My luck. Now that's gonna land, and that's a game over. Because I ate a 33. I'm gonna do that entire turn over again the same way. I just had to eat the 33, huh? Darn you.
Love it.
To that. Guess I could have led with that.
We must be
Doesn't
swift.
matter too much here, I don't think. Look, that's fine. And she heals that way. And then that frees up Aaron to go ahead and do that.
Strength.
Is what we shall do. Then we do something like this. I could have battle saved right at that moment. But the thing is, if I find myself in a situation where it's like, surprise, 100 and 100, then I've now locked myself into a guaranteed loss and I have to restart the entire map. So I don't like to battle save in the middle of turns. Let's see here. Just in case.
You are nothing.
Sometimes it'll take a little bit of extra time in the run back, but then I'm never locking myself into guaranteed loss. So that's kind of my intention there.
Sloppy work. We're in this together.
Oof.
Yes?
We come here and we go ahead and Lunar Reeve. And then I do more damage here with his debuffs, so I'm doing that.
Spreading my
Full mastery up. That looked like the same level up again. That's what that kind of looked like. Okay, chill out. Alright.
death will purify.
Sweet. We're good now. Just kind of hoping I get a ricochet and then... Yeah. Wow, he's still doing a lot of damage to Arthur. Thank goodness they can't both attack Arthur from there. Thank goodness it's restricted to, like, their respective sides, which I am very, very grateful for. Weird shape. Now we battle save. Thank goodness for battle saves, or else I'd be so screwed. Whoops. Yeah, I know the objectives. I know it. I think you're just gonna gain mana this turn. Yeah, so I guess you have to go past the obstruction here.
Always moving.
Here, put on some more debuffs. Or something or other quickly. Like this.
Death comes.
And then, like, I can't do the... Well...
Let's move, people. Stand down.
I can do that. I can do this. Like this.
You let your
Maybe I'll even take you out this turn. See what happens.
Positively splendid.
And let's see here. Yeah, you're not doing any damage back. Sweet. Always at full health again. He likes being at full health, if at all possible. I mean... You chill out here. Or you can just be the one that kills. That works. That works great.
You're really strong.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? Let's see here. Go ahead and line. Like this.
Whoa.
30. Here, get him with the crit.
This one's mine.
So that works perfectly with Gwyn's positioning. There it is. Now it's down to just him. So it won't quite be this turn, but next turn, I guess. Yeah, I still have one turn of the absolute zero. So may as well do this. I'll get a little bit of damage, and there'll be some bleed on you. Will be the case here. Very nice. Yeah, things are looking good, unless that's a debate, and then I fight Death himself up here. Otherwise, what's the point of that section, right? I don't know if I completely trust it yet. Here, more enchant weapon. Go down here, chill out, do this. Chill out,
Without hesitation.
go here. Sounds good to me. These guys are coming in. But yeah, I really liked Edge of Ascension in Dark Deity 1. I'm liking it in Dark Deity 2. Okay, battle save. And then... Let's see here. I could just get him with a Lunar Reeve. That's what I could do. In fact, I think I will. All this snowballing we've done throughout this game. Let's kill him with that. Oh.
I should be getting paid for this.
Oh.
Sky's the limit.
I honestly kind of thought that there would be more, like at the top, where it's like, then you fight the guy that he made the deal with. Death itself. Especially with Arthur saying that he would take things further. Well, maybe that's game one, unless it's one of those twofers, like that one map was, and then it's like, surprise. It gave me a lot of turns there, so I thought it would be time enough for something at the top. Trophy's coming along there, it's looking kind of cool. Probably be done by the time we're done with everything here. Most likely. Here, let's do that.
Oh, finally, he comes to claim me. After so much torment, I am taunted with one final failure. What sick cruelty.
Orlov, it's over.
Yes, no, yes. It's all finally over. My daughter. I know she's alive.
And?
Death has haunted my life from the very first. From the moment he took my wife from us. I did the best I could.
That was for Reardon! For Britannia! That was for me!
Gwyn, it's time to go.
He deserves worse.
Maybe he does. But there's no guarantee it's safe to stay here.
Quite the opposite, actually. I can guarantee it's not. With Orlov gone, there's nothing holding this place together.
Then how do we get out?
We need open sky. Viserion!
Aye, there's a tower we can climb. Highest point in Azrael, they say.
That'll work nicely.
Then come on! Let's move it, people! Go on, hurry! Nobody's getting left behind today! Everybody up the stairs! You know, if Reardon were here...
Gwyn!
Right.
Just once, could the building wait until we're already outside to start collapsing?
All right, Alden. Time to work your magic.
Already on it, but something's resisting me. Or someone.
You think our friend's boss has noticed us?
If so, we've got bigger problems than a long fall ahead of us.
If it's anything like the door from earlier...
Then we won't be able to open the way ourselves.
Alden, stop the spell.
Are you? If we don't leave...
I know.
I trust him. Do what he says.
I knew it.
Everyone get in! I'll pull up the rear! Go on, Arthur.
You know how usually you're the one taking the big risks?
Yeah? What do you... Wait!
I'll be right behind you. Hopefully.
How and why did you do that?
How? I guessed and got it right. As for why, I'm not really sure, honestly. I suppose I had a hunch.
I thought you were the smart one. Good to see annoying prick runs in the family.
You were going to close the rift behind us, weren't you? You were going to stay behind. After everything we did to save you, to give you a second chance, you were about to throw it all away. For what? Pride? Guilt?
Your uncle's right. Nobody gets in here without being let in first. I've been looking for another way for years. There's somebody I have to find. This could be my last chance to go searching.
Your mother.
It wasn't an invitation to guess.
Then you'd let the same madness that killed your father kill you as well? even knowing where this path leads?
That's not...
Open another rift. You're coming back to Terrazel, alive.
to Terrazel? And what, I wonder, awaits me there? Rotting in a Gratanian prison? Death by Asbarellian mob? What's the point? I've lived my whole life in exile. I hated it. This could be my only chance. There's nothing left for me but this.
Don't pretend you're staying here out of any sense of purpose. You don't know how this place works, where to start looking. You don't even know how you'll survive the palace collapsing. You would stay here to die. You're giving up.
I am not giving up.
Then prove it. Prove me wrong and live. Open the rift.
Just stick close to me. We're gonna be cutting it close.
Lead the way.
I don't understand what he's thinking. How could he be so reckless?
Arthur, you stupid, stupid boy. You better be here soon so I can tear you a goddamn new one.
I have faith in him. I don't know what he stayed behind for, but whatever it is, he must have thought it was important. So I have faith in him.
You're right. Of course you're right. I'm just...
Terrified?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm back.
Arthur!
Hi, Dad. Sorry, Dad.
You scared the daylights out of me. When Gwyn told me what you'd done.
I know. I didn't have much time to think about it.
What happened in there?
Do you mind if I keep it to myself?
Yes, I do. But... I won't force you. You did what you had to do, right?
Yeah, I think I did.
Then you did good. Just, next time, warn me a bit sooner, okay? I mean, that shove really wasn't necessary.
She's upset because you sprained her ankle. Turns out the rift wasn't quite level with the ground on the other side.
The mighty commander of the Order brought low by tripping. What is the world coming to?
Okay, we can leave that part out of the history books, alright? It could be fun trivia for the Cosmere snobs.
Hey, that's not fair. Cosmere's arcanists are far more snobbish than the historians.
Father?
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just... This is what I was fighting for. I'm... enjoying the moment.
You're right. Tomorrow, for the first time in a long time, there won't be any more fighting. Just... another day. Another day.
Epilogue. I just got 2 Steam achievements. Vengeance beat the game. Death Forestall beat the game on Deity or Demonic.
Only for the moment. I didn't realize how tired I was getting.
Everyone else did? We even told you.
I know. I'd say it's nice to have a chance to just breathe, but it feels like there's still so much to do.
I swear I've been talking to diplomats since the second Orlov hit the floor.
Guess we made our bed with all our talk of rebuilding. Time to lie in it.
Or alternatively, we can lie here, in the shade.
Huh. Good idea. I should have thought about that.
That's why I'm the brains of the operation.
Ah, there you are. Hiding from your adoring fans, then? Take my advice, just send them to Irving. He lives for this kind of thing.
They'll have to get in line. He's even busier than we are.
Was it the same way for you after the Empyrean War?
Oh, not really. I was too young for the diplomats. It was the magical elite that wanted to make my acquaintance. You can imagine I was less than thrilled. What child wants to spend their days with a bunch of stodgy old wizards?
And now you're one of them. Must feel terrible.
I'm not that old. I'm not even 40 yet.
Speaking of the magical elite, you haven't changed your mind yet, have you?
No, I'm afraid not. As much as I'll miss you two, my talents are needed in Cosmere. It's too important.
You should write letters. It might help Reardon learn how to read. I'm sorry. I forgot. For a moment.
Oh, Gwen.
This place doesn't really feel the same without him. I keep expecting to hear his laugh echoing down the hall.
It's not an easy thing to live with. I'm sorry, both of you.
No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't... He wouldn't want us to sit around moping about it. It's just, it sneaks up on me sometimes, you know? I should just probably get some actual sleep in a real bed for once. It'll be a nice change of pace.
All right. Good night, Gwen.
Good night, Arthur. Oh, Father, you're still awake?
I am.
You look like crap. Shouldn't you be getting some sleep?
Funny to hear that coming from you. Guess being a busybody runs in the family.
That and, you know, the hair.
Yeah, that too. How are you holding up?
I'm not really sure yet. Been putting one foot in front of the other just fine, but everything feels different.
War does that to you. War and loss and time. And usually you don't feel yourself changing. So when it comes fast, it's dizzying.
I don't know. It doesn't feel like I've changed. It's here, Caliban. Or no, it's Varroa. Looking down across it all, there's so many memories. And so many of them are bad. It's a struggle to hold on to the good. But I have to, don't I? If I let go of the good times, then is there even anything left? But worse, I don't know if I can ever make better memories again. It feels like the good times are behind me now, for good. I mean, is it even possible for us to live a normal life? Is it even right? Because I keep wishing I could take it all back. I'm not even sure what I'm fighting for anymore.
Gwen, earlier today, I had a historian come up to me asking about you.
Oh, really? And what did this historian want?
He wanted my opinion on what title he should call you by. Commander of the Order, or other such obvious things. But that wasn't all. Liberator of Varroa, Bane of Azvarel, Death's Bane, Hope-bringer, the second hero of Terrazael.
He come up with those himself?
If not, he'd better hire new help. But do you see, Gwen? That man, he believed those titles. All of them. And for so many people, you are the good worth holding on to. You are the good memories. You keep them moving forward. And maybe you're right, and you didn't change. Maybe this was always who you were. Maybe you just didn't notice the signs. But everyone around you finally sees what I've always seen in you. A hero. Somebody above all of this. Somebody worth the title. More worthy than I ever was.
Father, I miss him so much.
I know, honey. I know. And I know your brother would be proud to see you now.
Caliban's palace roof.
So be honest. This business in Cosmere is more than just work to you, isn't it?
As always, you see right through me. I don't think I can stay here. Not after everything that's happened.
Too many bad memories?
I'm a very, very powerful man, Arthur. Not the kind of power a throne can grant you. Real power. It terrifies me. You saw it yourself, how much my powers were relied on to see this war to its end. It was a good cause. However...
I understand. You don't want to be turned into a weapon.
Something like that. In Cosmere, for all the politicking and manipulation of the academics there, I was just another scholar. But here, Irving is a good man, but he sees results before he sees people. And my results are well documented. Getting away from all that, living my life as a man, not as a weapon, that's why I have to leave.
Then, I guess I hope that goes well for you. We could all do with a little peace of mind these days.
Haha, indeed. I should begin packing. The sooner I leave, the fewer meetings I'll have to sit through. If you'll excuse me.
Alden, before you leave, I need to ask you something important. I think you know what I'm talking about.
I believe I do, yes. Though I may not have the answers you're looking for.
That's all right. Just try. I used to know who I was, what my place in the world was. I was a member of the Order, a Sildarin, an adventurer, but now I've been a soldier, a leader, even an aberration. I've seen the way you look at me sometimes. Like you don't know me either. I used to know my father, my sister, my brother, but I don't anymore. Please, Uncle. If I can't know them, at least let me know this. Who am I, really? Is this still where I belong?
Arthur Sildarin, you are still your father's son. Still a brother to your sister. Nothing can take that away from you. Whatever we've lost, it may change us, but it can never erase us. We persist, we rebuild. You are whatever you feel you need to be. That's what we all are in the end. I love you, Arthur. You'll always belong here, in my heart, my mind, my family.
Uncle.
Look at us. Seems to me we both could use some rest. Get some sleep, okay? I'll talk to you in the morning.
Good night, Alden. Whatever I need to be.
With the war behind them, Gritania began the long road towards restoration, guided by her allies and what remained of her leadership. However, in the wake of the war, supplies were scarce. Still, the nation stood strong. When the Sylvans emerged from the ruins of their home, Queen Zanille at their head, it was Gritania who met them. Many were those who were saved by the Sylvans in the early days of the war, and so were the former tensions between them washed away as the two peoples became inseparable. The Lords of Gritania were the last to accept this new partnership, but pressure from their people and from Lord Carlisle, whose encounter with the Order had given him new perspective, convinced them to make the alliance official. Together, the restorations of both their nations proceeded apace. Carlisle's Gritania was set to become a land of connection, its many trade routes not just signs of wealth, but of unity. While his people had little love for him, he earned the respect of his political peers and wielded his gifts ever in service to his homeland. Opportunists and bandits plagued the ailing countryside, but stories abounded of a wandering stranger, garbed in obscuring robes, who wielded both blade and prayer. Those who claim to have met her remember her by her one-armed stance, and that when she spoke, it was as if Izin himself guided her words. To the east, the Elves of the Weald began a different reconstruction effort. fraught with hardships of their own. With much of the forest destroyed, the Sylvan people found themselves fearing for their future. Some chose to retreat to what small pockets of the Weald had survived. Others simply left, in search of a new home. Most, however, rallied to the words of Zenil, who preached a new vision of the future, one where the Sylvans could call all of Varroa their home and build a new Weald. Guiding her on her mission was Kamari, whose steely pragmatism served to temper the ambitious youth's wilder tendencies. However, as work began on restoring the forest to its former glory, he vanished without a trace. Speculation abounded as to his whereabouts, but Zenil never seemed bothered. She would tell all who asked that, whatever his reasons, he would never leave the Weald without cause. Meanwhile, to the west, Naja looked to their own future. With the loss of their navy, the wheel of Najin trade ceased to turn, throwing much of Hao Fen into chaos. As its leaders searched for solutions, however, its people outside the city took another tack. First, it was only a few stray wanderers, journeying to Gritania to offer a prayer for the fallen. Then it was groups, come to lend a helping hand. Then caravans, offering goods straight from where they were grown. No coin ever exchanged hands, nor was anything asked of those who accepted their aid. When asked why, the Najans would speak only of tides and look longingly out to sea, perhaps wondering if their old friend was watching over them even now. While Naja escaped from the war almost untouched, Miradar found its worst scars were born of their own hand. With King Imran deposed, the people looked to their archbishop to guide them. Munir, emboldened by the words of the Sildarans, proved an inspiring leader, capable not only of mending the wounds left by the war, but also the rifts between his people. While the road ahead looks rocky, the Mirrodin people remain bright-eyed and hopeful. The rest of Varroa, uninvolved as they were in the war, continued about business as usual. However, there was a palpable feeling in the air, all across the land. The feeling that a time of great change was upon them all, that this war was but the first of many upheavals, that Varroa, or perhaps all of Terrazale, was turning a new page, as one era ended and another began. An era, many hoped, of heroes. For many heroes were born or reborn in the fires of this war. Beneath the Order's banner they assembled, a new generation of names for the history books. As the curtain fell upon their battle, they too found their work had only just begun.
Saxon, returning home to Haven, received a hero's welcome. However, behind each smiling face, he saw the scowls that had so characterized his life before the Order. It didn't take long for Saxon to leave again, returning to Celeborn, returning home.
Cassandra stayed with the Order, devoting herself to caring for those who had been left permanently injured by the war in Gritania. Still as private as ever, she would often mourn in silence for the patients she lost, praying that each would be the last.
Feeling an obligation to help her former homeland, Valeria got involved in rebuilding Azvarel. She found her assistance was met with hostility more often than not, but she pushed on regardless, winning over her detractors with her boundless enthusiasm and considerable competence.
Upon his return to Celeborn, Benji dodged the excited crowds to do something no Benji had ever done before. He visited a library, hoping to learn something that could help the Order rebuild. He became crucial to the Weald's restoration efforts, a role that he strived to be the very best at, just as he always had.
Zenil took to her duties as Sylvan Queen with uncanny ease, devoting nearly every waking moment to leading her people. It was only those closest to her who knew how she wept for all she had lost, and how alone she felt.
Drowning in unfathomable grief, and bereft of a target for his rage, Kamari disappeared from Varroa. He hardly told a soul of his intentions, but what few he confided in knew only that he was searching for something. Something he had spent all his life searching for.
With the war over, Zuhair did as he always had. He wandered. His nearly bottomless well of optimism brought a ray of hope to many a hopeless soul. While he would love to tell you he did this only to see them smile, he was always quick to point out his empty coin pouch, and would often share meals with those too unfortunate to pay him.
Shocking everybody, Eve requested a permanent place within the Order upon the war's end. Her idea of justice had been shaken by all she had seen, but she knew she had never been better equipped to carry it out than she was now. She would become their head of information, a masterful spy master with a legendary mean streak.
Hauron went home to his people, with the intent to become their chieftain once again. However, it wasn't long before he'd decide he had changed too much to lead this quiet people in their sleepy town. He spoke to the Shamak one last time, reminiscing on their storied past. Then, he departed from Naja, determined to cure his old friend of his madness.
Having shed her prior prejudices, the Lady Iman made it her life's goal to end the divisions between the Vanthites and the Shusani. While the other nobles of her house pushed back at first, Mashal proved to be an unstoppable force, dragging her countrymen kicking and screaming into a new era, whether they liked it or not.
With the answers she sought still out of reach, Aya remained with the Order, keen to study the relic they'd retrieved from the Abyss. While she would sometimes chafe against their rules and regulations, Aya was all too glad to finally have something to hold on to in her search for who she really was.
With his debt to the Order repaid, and his mission to Varroa seemingly a failure, Tusk, nonetheless, made the journey overseas with his spirits high. Upon his arrival, he sought to impart the lessons he had learned to his people, mending their divisions, just as the Order had mended Varroa's.
While her dream of peace between the Orcs and the Varroans had seemingly hit a dead end, Larai was never one to give up. With the Order's support, she worked tirelessly to make her voice heard, hoping to leverage this time of great upheaval to further her cause.
Despite her best efforts, Taldera was never repaid for the damages to her theater. She couldn't be too mad, of course, as she was repaid 100-fold by the reception to her latest masterpiece, a lightly embellished play recounting a first-hand account of the Great War that shook the foundations of the Earth. She became a household name almost overnight. Again!
For all the talk of unity, Viserion found there was little place for a man like him in this new Varroa. Labeled a traitor in his homeland, and a murderer in lands without. Feeling he had no other options, Viserion pledged himself to the Order, hoping to earn the right to call Varroa his home once again. A right that, in truth, he was being unduly denied.
Her mission completed, Calith returned home to Moonvale. There, she made her report to her handlers. Thus did she and the other Moon Elves begin the grim work of preparing for whatever the next great threat may be.
The Grand Master of the Order returned to his mountaintop keep, a hero for the second time. He didn't allow himself a single day of rest before burying himself in his work once again. Perhaps out of dedication to Varroa, perhaps out of fear of the memories an idle mind might linger on.
Unsatisfied with merely having won the war, Alden would get to work researching the cause of the year's magical phenomena. He dared not tell a soul, but he breathed a sigh of relief upon escaping from Celeborn's long shadow, feeling as though he had finally escaped the specter of war that had clung to him so tightly for so long.
Arthur was filled with frustration, having dug deeper inside himself than ever before and having found only more questions. Despite this, the youth reluctantly put a halt to his introspection for the one thing he valued more: the health of his sister, who needed him now more than ever. Nonetheless, the thought remained, Alden's words ever echoing in his mind.
Every day, Gwyn would be told she was a great hero, the savior of Varroa, the herald of a bright new future. She wondered often how many times she needed to be told before she could start believing it herself. Nonetheless, she had a new resolve within her. Perhaps she did not need to believe it. Perhaps the belief of others was all she needed. If the world looked upon her as a hero, then a hero she would be. For perhaps the world only sees heroes when it feels it needs them the most.
While gathering the last of his belongings from what used to be Reardon's quarters, Gwyn found a small notebook, hidden from sight. Flipping through it, Gwyn was shocked to find it full of poetry. It was sloppily written, overly saccharine, and earnest to a fault, just like the boy was in life. She keeps it on her, even now. Just one of 1,000 ways his legacy lingers on in the lives of all those he met.
In the end, the Order of Eternals would all be remembered as heroes. Their legacy was not just their own, but that of all Varroa, as the Order's way would soon become the way of all the land. In a time rife with misery, the Order was ever there to extend a helping hand, meeting the unwavering hostility of Varroa with an uncommon vulnerability. Many would say that their compassion was what saved Varroa, and such was how its people would live, unto an uncertain future, hand in hand, undivided and unafraid.
Acknowledgements. For Rob and Azali, who believed in us and set us on this path, we couldn't have done it without you. Thank you and much love. You are missed. Well, that was Dark Deity 2. Yeah, that's, once again, just like Dark Deity 1, quite a small team on the dev team. Here, I can go ahead and turn off my camera there and you can see the full thing. Artists. Honestly, they did a fantastic job. And then, of course, like lots of people for the voice acting and all that. Would definitely be the case. And I quite like the voice acting in this game. Patron 1, Patron 2. Oh, I guess in case anyone wants to see the stuff there. I guess I blocked some before. Publishing Indie.io. Whole bunch of credit there. Okay. Game cleared. Congratulations on being Dark Deity 2. You can now finish up any remaining challenges or play training missions for fun, but there's no more story content remaining. Consider trying a new playthrough on a new difficulty or some of our extensive campaign customizations like random recruitment. From the small team at Sword and Axe, we hope you had fun with Dark Deity 2 and we really appreciate you playing. We pour a lot of love into this game and we can't wait to show you what comes next when it is time. The story of the Sildarans is far from over. Okay, so there is for sure intention on continuing with this all. Gotcha. So, yeah, that was Dark Deity 2. Also, on the side here, trophy finished. So, it's a 3-color blue, purple, and green filament. You can see kind of lines of green. It's supposed to be like you look at it from different directions and you see different colors. You can see how some kind of bled through into other areas, but, you know, it looks kind of okay. From the top, it looks kind of bluish. I noticed this way it looks a little bit more purplish. But yeah, so these will be trophies for our top 3 finalists of Smash Singles and Fragapalooza coming up here. So, if anyone wants to see the lucky winner who ends up taking this home, then check that out. I'm glad that that was able to finish while this was going on. So all those cutscenes were going on, I went over and took it off the print bed, and it's all done now, and yeah. Like the perfect length of the stream to get that done. So, yeah, the interesting note from the half an hour ago now, because it was that long of cutscenes there. So, it looks like when Orlov died originally, he said, "Was I a good father? I got criticized for being out of left field, didn't realize it got changed, huh?" Well, I guess it makes sense that it would be removed there when he literally told his daughter to die for him, so it would seem kind of strange if he had the thought like, was I being good there? You did it. You are the Dark Deity too. Hell yeah. I can't believe I'm finally the Dark Deity too. Alright, so that game. Let's see here. Let's maybe start with the gameplay. How about I'm gonna turn the tracking back on my camera because I'm gonna kind of slouch in my chair here a little bit. The first thing that I have that comes to mind when I think of the gameplay of this game is this game is kind of what I wish Fire Emblem Engage was. And what I mean by that is with Fire Emblem Engage, the main kind of power that you have to be able to help you out through battles are the whole engage rings, where it's like you can engage with an emblem and then you're like super powered up for multiple turns and you get to use their abilities and they have like one super that they can pop each time that you engage with them. And the abilities are really cool and lets you do like some really cool and cracked things. But the thing is, it would take a decent while to recharge them again, so I'm sure if I played on one of the lower difficulties in Fire Emblem Engage, that I would just be able to pop emblems from time to time for fun and keep on plowing through things. But on the hardest difficulty of Maddening there, I did not want to pop them unless I knew I need to pop it to be able to advance past this point. Like, there's no getting through it otherwise. Because what if I don't need to pop it now, so I pop it, and then it goes on cooldown, and now I'm stuck in a situation where I need to pop it, but I can't because it's on cooldown. So, one of the most main game mechanics of the game, I just did not engage with all that much. You know, this kind of, that was not intended to be punny, but I just didn't really engage with it all that much because I was always saving it for only if it was necessary, because I didn't want to risk it being on cooldown when the bazillion reinforcements that spawn in come and swarm me like a plague of locusts like happens in that game. So I just kept on not using it because it was just like, here's some really cool abilities, but you pop them and then like the whole set is on cooldown. But this game instead has the whole mana system here, where it's like you have 100, you regain 20 every turn, and each of these cost different amounts, and you can give them upgrades where it's like it costs less and then you have like more stuff to burn. And so, unlike something like the emblem system where it's like, oh, this is like one big super if I get to use all these abilities for the next 3 or 4 turns and use like my one ultimate. I don't want to be popping it for a while because like, I don't want to pop it unless it's absolutely necessary. Whereas with this here, I would constantly be using it and have to deal with like my resources. So it's like, you can use stuff and then it's on cooldown, but the amount of cooldown that it's on is dependent on like the things that you're doing. And like, if you have a full bar, you can use like 40 of it and then you're up to 80. And then you can use another 40 of it and then you're up to 60. And then maybe you use like the whole 60 and you're at 0, so you're only at 20 on the next turn. And it's like, oh, I can't do anything. Maybe I screwed myself a little bit now. But it's like an actual resource to manage rather than just like one super mode that you keep on not wanting to pop because what if I need it later? But here I didn't really have to ask what if I need it later when I'm at full mana, so I can feel free to use it there and use it in some different ways to help me out. But there are situations where it's like, do I want to pop something a little bit bigger? Like this, taking 80, Astral Reckoning. Is that an appropriate situation to be doing that? Because now I'm going to need to like build it up and recharge for a while. That does put me in a position where I need to keep that in mind. But I can be using lesser things like this without it putting all my abilities on as much of cooldown. Like, it's actual resource management that I take into account in my strategy, which something like Fire Emblem Engage just didn't really have as much. Like, I guess you could do resource management in terms of, like, these 2 characters have popped emblems. I still have, like, these 6 characters over here that can pop emblems, but it's just not quite the same as every character having, like, their own resource to manage that cools down and that kind of way, and it's just, this system is kind of what I wish the Engage system was in Fire Emblem Engage. I would have been a lot happier with that game if it was something like this. So when I first started playing this game and I saw this, I was a little bit confused, like, wait, how does this work? It's, like, building up again over time, by how much? I've got some different abilities here. And I feel like it did a good job of easing me into figuring out how this works, with me just starting, like, with my basic unpromoted characters, with just, like, the one ability, and then I promote them into their tier 2, and there's more stuff to manage. Because, like, if I was dumped with all this stuff immediately, where everybody has, like, 5 things, there's no way I'd be keeping that in mind. But easing it in that way, where it's like, there's one thing to pop, and I'm going through the map thinking, when do I pop this one thing? And then I have so many more options later, it's like, it eases me into it, and I felt like I had a good understanding of it, and I just really quite liked it, you know? That was really cool. So I really, really like the mana system of this game. It's probably one of, if not my favorite element gameplay-wise. I thought it was really quite good. Dark Deity just does classes and skills better than Fire Emblem. In some ways, I'd say here. Also, Mastery is an amazing stat. If you should steal it, absolutely. Also, the Dark Deity UI is just better at giving information. Sometimes. That's kind of one of my complaints, is sometimes things aren't as clear as I wish they would be, or sometimes they'd be worded a little bit weirdly. What are some immediate examples that come to mind of that, I wonder? Would that be like... Let's see here. That one probably isn't as confusing as some things are. Because there were some things that I really wondered, how exactly does this work? And I would have to go into battle and actually try it out to understand how it works. What are some things that are examples of that? Because I know I had some in the back of my mind. I mean, now I'm biased here. I have personal involvement in this game. I'm 100% biased. That's fair enough. I mean, here's an example where it's like Arthur, he can reanimate fallen foes, creating a zombie at 107% efficiency. And that shows the range of 1-to-1. And that means that I can use 65 mana to create an enemy type from this map with like 107% of their stats right next to Arthur. Anytime, I can pop that. Whereas Cassandra here, on the other hand, can do Simulacrum. Create a Simulacrum of an enemy at 122% of their stats with one range there. And at face value, I would look at this and be like, okay, what's the difference? There's 107% stats here, 122% stats here. But this one, I can just pop and just spawn in like some randomly generated foe that's now on my side. Here, I need to actually be adjacent to a foe. Or I guess I can do the upgrade where I don't have to worry as much about that there. I am getting some texts from my dad right now, which I'm really quite surprised about. It's 3:12 in the morning. I guess he couldn't sleep and is like up and about and like looking for other potential job opportunities, which is like great, and I appreciate that and stuff like that because I'm still job hunting here. Like I would not be able to tell at face value that I need to be adjacent to the foe to be able to do that. I would not be able to tell that. And some of these sometimes, which were the ones that really confused me there. I guess my only criticism of this game is that please stick with the art direction. Like, yeah, 16-bit pixel mishmash, pixel and hard-drawn art did not mix perfectly. I'm fine with it the way that it is like that. That's the way all the 3DS Fire Emblem games did it, and I very much enjoy the 3DS Fire Emblem games. So it very much gives me vibes of that, which I think are, like, the most charming games in the Fire Emblem series, in my opinion. So I definitely don't mind that at all. Personally. I don't know what other things, but I know that there were some other things that I was a little bit confused about. Oh, here's one that is not entirely clear. I thought that this meant that it would be kind of like this, where it's like, if I cast it again, I switch back to physical. No, it only switches my damage type to magical for that one turn. So I can't exactly be doing this while doing these on another turn. But I guess there's not anything that I'd immediately need to pop for, like, extra damage at the time anyway, but yeah. Yeah, that's just kind of the style that it is, and I don't mind it because, like, 3DS Fire Emblem games and stuff like that. I'm sure that that's probably where part of the inspiration came from for that. Yeah, so I do wish that that kind of stuff could be a little bit clearer, where it's like, wears off the immediate next turn. I had a little bit of trouble understanding for a little while with the whole stacks here, where light, heavy, severe, 1, 2, 3, where, what? Oh yeah, I guess that's just the end there. Where, like, now I realize that that's the amount of turns/actions it lasts for, where it's like 1, 2, and 3. But when it just says light, heavy, severe, 1, 2, 3, I just like, okay, I guess that's like the level of effect that it takes, but what exactly does that mean there? Like, these are just the power levels? No, that's the amount of action. So there's a few things that, despite there being in-game tutorials that seem to explain it, I don't really understand them at face value, and it takes me playing it for X amount of time before I actually understand what it means here, you know? Oh yeah, that's fair enough there. It is nice being able to look at stuff like, wow, this here and be able to see exactly what it does. I do wish that I could hover over these and see what exactly the calculation is. I mean, like, this is obvious here and it says that, but what combination of stats and things are going on here that constitute that. That would be definitely nice to have there. But yeah, really like the mana system and having different abilities that all use different amounts of mana in different ways here. The class system in this game, I generally really like it, and I think that's better than Dark Deity 1, because in Dark Deity 1, if memory serves, you were locked in. The moment that you promoted, you couldn't, like, change that again later. And, I remember if I would promote someone into something that it didn't really end up working out, it's like, okay, well, I guess I've now screwed them because they're like that for the rest of the game. Like Benji, for example, who had really high defense. I was like, let's put him in the magic-based class, and then, like, the growth of the class and his personal growth will have him kind of even out. Like, he'll have, like, pretty similar defense and fortitude, and he'll just be, like, an overall, like, decently tanky unit rather than being, like, super tanky in one or the other. And that just didn't really work out, and he didn't really gain all that much in either, and I realized that I screwed him, and I just had to bench him from there, being like, whoops, he's locked into that, he's stuck in that now. This game gives you a lot more customizability with you being able to change into other things. Like, I could spend a coin, I can change into this, and I can change my build a little bit. But I do wish that I could go backwards. Like, and it would be fine if, you know, it gets rid of my stuff that I have here and my third ability. Then I would just have to spend another astral ingot and promote into this. I do wish that there was that, because the moment I go into tier 3, then my tier 2 is locked in forever. But at least at that point, I will have had, like, a chance to play around with tier 2s and be like, is this the right field? Do I want to change it up a little bit? And the growth rates I found from, like, tier 2 to tier 3, sometimes they're generally better, sometimes they can be a little bit worse. Like, they're, generally speaking, they're about the same here. Like, I promote from Gale to Tempest, and it's like, my HP growth actually goes down. Like, it's not just inherently better. So sometimes I would want to stay in a tier 2 class for a little bit longer before I switch over to the tier 3 class, because it's not like I needed to bum rush going into tier 3 classes as soon as possible to get, like, inherently better growths. Like, Valeria here, for example. Seeker is physical, and there were some maps where I thought, hey, I might want the physical a little bit longer. And then I'll promote her into Elisant sometime later here. I'll get around to it. Because then I'm suddenly switching to magical, and that kind of changes up my playstyle a little bit. And yeah, like, a decent bit of growths are definitely better here, but I wasn't feeling like I needed to rush into becoming tier 3 to get inherently better growths or anything like that, so I was able to take my time with it, and I was continuing to play chapters in tier 2s to give myself a little bit more time to consider, what do I want here? And I did like that. But again, I do wish that I could, like, de-promote here, kind of like something like Fire Emblem Awakening, go backwards, get these, and then I get those skills, and then I use an astral ingot and go back into one of these. That way, it's like you're not truly ever locked into anything. Like, that was the reason why I made a save file from this point. This was the point before I promoted anybody into tier 3s and inherently locked something in permanently. This is the save file where things can still change. Nothing is permanent at this point. So, I do wish that I would be able to do that, but for the most part, I thought the class system of this game was really cool. It's really cool thinking about, like, what abilities am I going to get, and also, like, what passives do I have, and what kind of things compare well with one another. Like, my Arthur build here, for example, I went from Scholar, so mana use raises Fortitude stat by 2 for the rest of the chapter, and he wants to be constantly spending mana, so he just, like, snowballs more and more Fortitude, and he can get in the fray against magical enemies better and better. These are just really handy things to have, and this is just a great way to burn mana if I don't have any enemies nearby to attack. Let's refill other people's mana, and now I'm spending more mana, and now Lunar Reeve is snowballing even more, this is snowballing even more, and to spend more and more mana, I put him into Necromancer, because even though that stat reduces, like, Mastery compared to if I had gone into something like Lore Master, so Lunar Reeve might not be hitting as hard there, it's gonna be hitting even harder because I'm spending more mana, because I'm regaining it faster and faster, and I wasn't doing this all that much, but when I was, hey look, another excuse to be spending mana if I don't have an enemy nearby. So I always have an excuse to be spending. If there's a bunch of foes around, shove his face in there. And then as my allies clean them up, then he gains a whole bunch of mana. Then he can keep on spending more and more. And then he snowballs more and more. And there's cool stuff that you can do like that. Where it's like, whoa, I looked at the different options that were here and brainstormed something that is actually really quite cool. I like that, you know? I definitely quite like that there. Thinking of magically merge into one stat was such a good choice. Yeah, I can agree with that. Kind of like a Fire Emblem Game Boy Advance series thing there, where it's like, well, I guess in that you had either strength or magic and just didn't have the other. But yeah, just having like a general might stat makes sense there. especially so that I didn't get screwed when going from, like, physical to magical when doing a promotion here. It's just like, yep, your might there, and stuff like that. Yep, the mana battery here. I really like this build. This might have been my favorite build that I had here. I didn't mind the way that I brought Gwyn along here either, with the whole being able... I got so much mileage out of this. And then get kills, get some light block, and then I can have her sort of in the fray sometimes, but she's more about, like, big single hits and stuff like that, and it worked out pretty well. So I really quite liked... This is probably my favorite build. This was pretty good, too. I really like this, going into all the pet command stuff. So there was, like, some really cool stuff that you can really brainstorm here and do some cracked things with. I had fun with Zeniel, I had fun with Eve. The stuff that I was doing with Zuhair and Arthur paired together, where he was just giving himself, like, crazy defenses, and Arthur was continuing to top him up so that he can continue keeping those crazy defenses, and then he can just go into the fray and let everyone just surround him and he doesn't worry about damage. That was fun. So being able to brainstorm doing stuff like that and granting more mana so that can keep going on. And oh, let's give him a little bit of regen so that he gets, like, health along the way in case he is missing a little bit of stuff. And a little bit of a mastery boost as well for what that helps. And Arthur definitely liked that mastery boost that he was granting him. What with the whole thingamabob here. Oh yeah, the additional might that granted as well. I forgot that I had that. But the ability to use increase the mastery by 4 until end of mission thingamabob. For himself, I'm reading the wrong thing. Healing effects on allies grant 2 mastery for 4 turns, stacking. So, after the regen had gone for a few turns, it's like, oh, there's just like +6 mastery on someone, and now this is doing like a whole bunch more damage, and there's just like such cool things that you can do. So, I generally really like the gameplay of this game. I wasn't sure how I felt about the turn limit at first, because when I think of games like this, I'm usually like, hey, I like to take my time and slowly approach and be able to catch my breath and stuff like that, rather than being like super aggressive. But when I realized that in that kind of system, I'd just be able to sit around, regen my mana all the way to full, and go in with full mana, it wouldn't have been as fun as having that turn limit where it forces me to play aggressive, be a much more player phase focused playthrough that also requires me to strategize with this resource rather than just being at like full every time like I would have absolutely played this game if there wasn't a turn limit. So I really quite like the strategy that came into that, and I quite like the implementation of the turn limit. Especially with it not being one of those things where it's like, oh, here's a general turn limit just to make sure that you don't spend too long in the map. It was a turn limit that was like, you better be zooming. So I had to, like, actually be playing very strategically and doing crazy stuff, and I generally just really enjoyed that. Yeah, the maps are very clearly built around that turn limit. You could feel it with things coming up on like 1 to 2 turns left and I just barely make it there. And it's always like such a clutch feeling when I get there, like right on the final turn. None of the turn limits felt unfair, I'd say. They all felt like very finely crafted, and I really, really liked that. Man, gameplay-wise, I like this game so much more than Dark Deity 1. It did so many cool things here that I now really wish that Fire Emblem would adopt, honestly. I do kind of wish that there was an easy menu to just see, like, at face value what all the different things here are. In terms of words are hard. In terms of what runes are possible to slot into them. Or maybe you just see, like, maybe there's a menu that just has a list of, like, all the focus runes in general, and then you click on one, or it shows a little menu to the side and it says what things it can be applied into. Like, you look up poison here, and it says it could be applied into a crystal focus and a skull focus thingamabob. And then you can strategize around that way a little bit rather than needing to dip around, like, multiple menus like this and be checking stuff out. So, that's one thing that I wish in terms of menuing here. I do like playing around with the different runes and how each weapon has not only, like, its own stats here, but the different runes that you can put into it that changes your playstyle as well. But again, I just wish that, like, I could see from a rune menu or something like that what my options are, in case there's, like, one specific rune that I want to use, and it's like, okay, these are the weapons that I can put in, rather than the other way around. Oh, that's another thing that wasn't explained very well. I do wish that the runes were a little bit better explained here. The whole allows the insertion of 1 axe rune. I didn't understand what this meant at first, and at first I thought that when I was getting these runes, I was picking these up or something like that. I was like, huh, I don't know where I got these, but I guess I've been picking these up along the way. Like, I guess I got some sort of focus rune, and one of them that I picked up happened to be Ragnarok, one of them that I picked up happened to be Tactician. And it's only after playing for a while that I realized it's how many of those runes that I have allows, like, so many to be inserted at a time, since, yeah, I can insert one more and one more focus on somewhere here if someone has a focus, whatever. Whatever, you get the point. I can insert one more focus into, like, one other weapon here, and the things that you can insert are tied to that specific weapon. I didn't realize that for so long. I thought these were things that I was picking up, and that as I got more of these along the way, I would be getting more in this menu. I didn't really know what this whole allows the insertion of one rune thingamabob meant. So I do wish that that was explained a little bit better. Oh, the whole ability upgrades I really liked, where it's like, hey, here's 4 options. You can upgrade 2 of them with items throughout the game. Like, which way are you gonna lean? Like, what benefits your playstyle the most? Like, do you do this stuff where it's like, I never really teleport Arthur himself around all that much, did I? Where you prioritize, like, reducing the cost of it? And in a lot of other games, you reduce the cost of something and it's like, okay, then you just have to grind less for whatever resource that you have. But when you have strict turn limits, this regenerates at a set rate. This is a very valuable thing to be investing in, because it just means that you can use abilities more. There's more turns that you can use abilities on, and it can be a very useful thing, and you want to consider, like, do I increase the power? Do I decrease the cost so I can use it more? Do I increase the amount of things that it can do? So the customizability that opened up with that, and me thinking, like, what is the most useful here? I thought was really quite nice. I do wish that some of them were a little bit more useful. Like, some of them are just really darn near pointless. Like, look at this. This is a scaling. You get 3 crit plus 20% mastery. So this is up to 7 at this point. Increase the crit by a whole 1 on top of that. Ooh. Or things that are just, like, flat damage. I really like the ones that are, like, increases mana mastery scaling. Or just, like, the, all the mastery scaling ones in general, because those ones will give you, you know, small boosts now, but like a bigger boost later that scales with you leveling up, so it grows as you get stronger. So I'm not really a big fan of like the flat damage increases, like increases damage by 4. Ooh! So I really like these damage buffs because they scale with your leveling, your mastery, so as you level up, like, the benefit that it gives you will grow with that, rather than just being a flat increase, where it's like, okay, that could help me maybe in the beginning of the game, but, like, mid-game and onward, this is, like, just a complete waste. So, you know, maybe this would have been, like, another mastery thingamabob here, and then I have to seriously consider, do I go double mastery, or do I go, like, 1 mastery and 1 range? Do I decrease the cost so I can spend it more? Because stuff like that, when you're thinking about long-term, you just would never want to be investing in that. The flat bonuses are made with 0 growths in mind is my guess. Oh, maybe it would benefit those that are doing like 0 growths runs, since there is like the whole customizability of all the different ways you want to play the game. That's another thing I can praise the game for, is that's something that I never really tried out in Dark Deity 1 all that much, but I appreciated that it was there. Just like the very in-depth customizability to the way that you want to play the game. So yeah, that could potentially help there, which is a bit of a conundrum. Yeah, because then it's just like useless for most people's normal playthroughs. So I don't know, maybe something like that is set up specifically for a 0 growths playthrough or something like that. So I do wish that I had options that I could actually want to invest in. I really liked the whole mastery scaling potential upgrade, so that, again, it grows with you throughout the game. But a lot of this stuff was just like, why would I ever even do that? It's just like the most pointless thing ever. Or something like that here. Increase the mana efficiency by -5. Well, that could potentially be pretty nice there. So it's just like a decreased mana cost kind of disguised as an up thing there. So yeah, some of them I never really considered wanting to do, but some of them be real good. I do wish that that this did something a little bit different, and it wasn't just like, hey, this is literally just like a better version of this, essentially. Because I only ever started doing this one, I didn't do much of this. I invested into this so that I could have a potential alternative and have a means to heal, and I kept on forgetting that I had that and finding other means for Eve to heal. Another thing I could praise, these guys pointing, like the one meme almost, but they're like, oh, look at that thing. The command pets were kind of fun. I could have always just not had this by going from, like, a different thing into a class 3, but I really wanted the skills. I really wanted the skill of this one, and the Licky Lasso, and then I wanted this plus just, like, the growths and that, and all those things, and the 1 to 2 range physical, so good. 1 to 2 range physical with bows being a thing in this game, I think is pretty cool, too. I did like that. yeah, there's some interesting thingamabobs in this game. I really liked how every character has a personal passive and a personal skill to consider when you're devising your builds for them and like what units you want to use and stuff like that. I really quite like that. So I had like my go-to characters with the whole generate mana faster, snowball with extra damage and stuff like that. And a lot of them had some really cool things and things that make them really unique and not just anything that's super generic or anything like that. Like, look at Fire Emblem Fates, for example, and some characters' personal skills actually do like some really, really good things, but most are just like, oh, here's a really minor thing, like take a, what's your face, the Star-Eyed Kid, for example, where it's like, here's a haiku skill, where it's like, if there's an ally above and below her at the turn start, then you gain like 5, 7, and 5 HP respectively. Ooh. Or Dwyer, where it's like, here's like, I think it's accuracy and evasion or something like that, up when you're fighting in my castle, which is almost never. Like this weird niche stuff that like, I guess you can play into. It's better to have personal skills than not. That's something that I appreciated Fates having going on there over Awakening. But a lot of them are just so meh. Whereas the personal skills in something like this are so cool, and they complement the things that you can build into with classes here so well. You know, Icicle and Passes are very cool gimme stats. The reason why I didn't use her all that much is because I figured there's going to be maps where that just doesn't come into effect. There's not going to be any Shrines of Purify or any foes that are going to be inflicting that on me. But in the maps where that is the case, I can see that being like absolutely very useful. I just built her to be like a support unit and stuff here is the way that I built her, because I figured that made sense there. But the stuff that you can play into is really quite cool. I really quite liked it. And considering like, he's the one that gets like 25% extra fortitude. Should I make him the tanky kind of person then? Should I have him be more in the fray with him being in this class here? And then like, he'll just be eating less damage while he's there in the fray. There's some really cool stuff. And like the interesting abilities with the rings and all that. It's just kind of cool and customizable, and I quite like it. I think my biggest complaints with like the gameplay and customizability is just I wish things were better explained, and I wish that I could go back to a tier 2 and change things up, is what I do wish. But apart from that, I really quite like the stuff with this game. I thought it was pretty cool. I do wish that there was another archer that you got so you could have like one of each of the final Dudos in this class, but now in these 4 classes you can have one of each. But now that I know that Reardon isn't around, you can only have 3. Unfortunito there. You can reclass him, even though he's got like some, I guess he doesn't have anything that's like just one specific tier 2. Interesting how Irving has some unique things there. Anyway. So I think that's what I wanted to say about the customizability and gameplay. The maps felt pretty good. Some of them felt a little bit weird in some instances, some very minor things. In terms of like that one map with the ballistas where it's like I take out the ballista guy and I assume that's going to disable the ballista and it doesn't, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe I didn't need to rush over and kill the ballista guy. The final map, they're having some bug tiles that I couldn't pass. You know, there's little weird hiccups like that. It wasn't anything as big as things that I noticed in Dark Deity 1 or anything like that. This game feels a lot more polished and refined. And I know that Dark Deity 1 became a lot more polished after the fact, and there was lots of patches and work later down the line. But this felt like a lot more polished from the get-go, but there was still little bits of weirdness like that. Anything else that I want to mention about the gameplay here? The whole enemy... I thought I heard a sound for a second. Maybe I'm going crazy over there. There being enemies with the skulls on them that all give, like, different unique buffs to that enemy. So it's not just like, hey, everybody is generic fodder except for the boss. No, there's, like, the skull guys are on the map that serve as almost like mini-bosses in some instances with some of the things that they had. I thought that was really cool. Like, when one of them is, like, restricts ability use within 2 tiles, when they're also beefed up on demonic mode here, and I'm relying on my abilities a whole lot, it's like, ooh, how do I deal with this? Time to use more ranged abilities or surround them with a guy and do some crazy thing here. So I really quite liked the thingamabob with the skulls, with them essentially being, like, tougher enemies that changes up and you actually need to read what's going on with them. Yeah, it definitely can. It's a good thing I had some backup units that I could use there. People have dropped the game due to Reardon dying? Really? Not even joking. Jeez. Well, I had some backups and stuff there. I like how you can grind in this game if you want. And it seems like it would be a limited resource at first, but just money monkey and you're good, and it was unlimited for me, and I would gain more gold out of it, so that worked well. Don't know if that was the intention or not, but, you know, I don't know how much gold you would get on a normal playthrough when I was constantly using the money monkey, but things worked out pretty well for me there. I really liked how there was a battle save in this game. I'm sure that it probably was not made with the intention of constantly save scumming throughout a map like I did, but hey, I use the mechanics that are given to me, and I'm very glad I had that one, because I would not want to be on, like, the last turn, someone falls, and then it's like, whoops, there goes my run. I'm just done for. So, essentially having, like, a one save state slot, like, I'm sure it was made with the intention of, like, you can't finish this map tonight, battle save, and then you can come back to keep on playing it tomorrow. But since it works the way that it does, where it's essentially a one single slot of save state, I will absolutely abuse that, and I actually feel like it made a better gameplay experience for me, even outside of the whole cheesing for better level ups and stuff like that. Just being able to go full send through a map rather than having to, you know, restart from the beginning multiple times. Like, of course I would restart from the beginning if it's within the first couple turns and I want to change up my strategy or something like that. But I could use that as my means to just, like, save at the beginning of each turn and then retry the turn and get through it better. Like, with a lot of Fire Emblem games, the way that I personally most enjoy playing them is with save stating at the beginning of turns, and then I try the turn until I get, like, an optimal result. I try to not rely on that as much when I'm doing playthroughs on the channel here, because I figure, you know, I want more of the challenge of the game. I'll save state, like, every handful of turns just in case I make a big mistake and I don't want to throw several hours down the drain when I have a crazy game queue around here and I want to have time to get to other stuff. But I try to not rely on it too much, because that's not the way the original game was designed, was with emulator save states. But because this was just like an in-game mechanic, I will absolutely use it, and I'm glad that I had that as a tool at my disposal. Honestly, I like the battle saves more than the turn wheel. Yeah, I honestly think I kind of like that too, where I can just choose where I essentially want to checkpoint and reload from that checkpoint, but I only have the one slot, so I have to think meaningfully about where I checkpoint. And my strategy was generally battle save at the beginning of every turn, unless, like, the last enemy phase was so bad I might want to go back to further, in which case then I won't save in the battle save slot, and I'll leave that prior turn battle save open. But generally at the beginning of each turn, so it's like, I have all my allies to move, there's got to be some way that I can find my way through this, find the right combination to find my way through it, and that was why even in, like, the final battle there, I wasn't going to be battle saving right before Eve got attacked, just in case I made, like, some other mistake and locked myself into something really bad. So from that perspective, maybe it would be better if there was 2 battle saves, and then I could do, like, one at the beginning of the turn and one later on in the turn, just if I'm farming for RNG, but maybe that's a little bit too much to be handing out at that point. It was fine with the 1 battle save. But considering doing a battle save brings you immediately to the main menu, it feels like the intention was you're leaving, you're quitting the game, you want to play it sometime later. But the way that I used it, I do kind of wish that I could battle save right in the map and it continues there. It just does, like, the saving kind of thing like here, where it's like, you know, you have, like, the little writing sound effect and then you just continue with what you were doing in the battle itself. I kind of wish that I could do that, but I'm sure that that probably wasn't the intention there. Demonic mode here, in terms of gameplay, I would say, it definitely felt quite challenging, but always in a way where it felt, like, surpassable. It wasn't just, like, the most insane bullshit for the sake of the most insane bullshit, where it's like, oh yeah, some player will figure it out somehow, like a, like an Awakening Lunatic Plus situation where it's, like, not at all a good design. I was worried that this would feel like just stupid, crazy, buffed up enemy stats for the sake of it, and just, like, there's a meme that I have somewhere around here in my Going Live folder when it comes to those kinds of difficulties in games. Like, let's see here. Where did I have it? Was it this one? Of some sort of post here? Where there are absolutely games that fall into this kind of category of difficulties. Piss easy, kind of hard, fucking annoying. like those kinds of difficulties. And this person here describing this basically just describes like Assassin's Creed Valhalla or Odyssey on the hardest difficulty modes. Super ridiculous, artificial, fuck your ass nightmare mode. Just gives enemies 500 million health and reduce your HP to 50 so you die in one hit. I hate difficulty modes like that. They suck. I actually like demonic mode here. It felt very challenging, but in a way where I could always find a way through, and I actually had to be like sitting down and thinking and strategizing, and like I was very stunned by enemy stats sometimes, like holy crap, such insane defense, such insane fortitude, and as is I could do barely any damage, but the game gives me my own broken tools with this stuff, and so with effective use of this stuff and my resource management with this, I was always able to find a way through. I actually really liked the demonic mode of this game. I thought it was really quite fun. When the bullshit hard mode made on a whim a month before release is better designed than every max Fire Emblem difficulty. Honestly, like, my god. Like, just going through the modern games, what I count as modern is like Awakening onward. Lunatic Plus Awakening, my god, the most insane bullshit. Who approved that? It's not a meaningful challenge, it's just bullshit for the sake of bullshit. Fire Emblem Fates Birthright Lunatic is pretty easy. Conquest Lunatic, okay, maybe we could tone down like the cross-map stacking, debuffing stabs and craziness there. Honestly, Lunatic with Conquest isn't too bad compared to a lot of the other ones. I think it might be the best designed hardest difficulty mode in the modern Fire Emblem games. Because, like, it has some crazy things I do wish were toned down a little bit, but it's actually a pretty decently good one. Revelations, that one's pretty easy too, Lunatic, I find. It's just so many of the same feeling map over and over and over again. Echoes with hard mode, it's piss easy. Why isn't there an actual challenging mode in Fire Emblem Echoes? Like, that's something that kind of ticks me off about that game. I haven't played it on the channel yet, but I've, you know, played it on my own before I was a content creator. Hard mode is piss easy in that game. It, like, turn your brain off. So, what the heck? And then there were 3 houses, and it released just with normal and hard. And hard is like, okay, well, there's an occasional map here and there that's challenging, but for the most part, it is kind of okay. And then with maddening mode, it's like, okay, well, there's a little bit more challenge in the basic maps, and like I have to think a little bit harder. And then there's random maps like Grondor Field, Sleeping Sand Legend, where it's like, oh yeah, prepare for this to feel like darn near impossible, and it's like, and then there's Engage, where at the beginning, Maddening and Engage actually felt really good. I really liked Maddening for like the first maybe half to a little bit more than half of the game. And then the later maps with just like the overabundance of random ambush spawn reinforcements, which everyone always complains about those in Fire Emblem games, and yet Intelligent Systems is like, oh, you want more random ambush spawn reinforcements that act on the same turn they come out? We've got you covered. And actually, I don't think they act on the same turn that they come out. It's like the one saving grace at least, but man, the fact that they're infinite and they start slowly overpowering you, and so the game basically artificially imposes a turn limit in the sense of like beat the boss, complete the objective, before you get overwhelmed with the absolute swarm of enemies rushing you down. I did not like that. Fel Xenologue kind of went into that even harder, especially starting with the Diamant and Allcrest map. That one that like stumped me for months. That I hated that so much. It felt very much like either you have the build, or either you have like a really strong build that can get you through this, or you don't. Especially with the later map there with the either Alir is a dodge tank, or they're not and you're screwed. It's like, what kind of terrible design is this? Whatever the next Fire Emblem game is, hopefully they actually learn from some of their mistakes and make a really good hard difficulty mode. If they make something like Fate's Conquest Lunatic mode again for the next Fire Emblem game, I would be like, oh, what an improvement. This is fantastic. What an improvement over the difficulty modes of 3 houses and Engage. So, I feel like the whole modern era of Fire Emblem has been very all over the place when it comes to their hardest difficulty modes. Like, why can't it just be consistently hard without being bullshit? Like, it's always too easy or bullshit, and never quite right at that golden sweet spot of, that was a meaningful challenge that I really quite enjoyed. You know what, this game? That was honestly a meaningful challenge that I really quite enjoyed. I feel like the final boss could have been a little bit harder. Maybe that's just because, like, you know, I've been cheesing level ups this whole playthrough, and I'm probably a lot stronger than Chip would have ever expected of any player at this point. But, like, still there. I kind of wanted there to be another phase where there would be some guy at the top that's like the true big bad, where it's like you face death itself or something like that. I feel like that would have been kind of cool. I feel like the final boss felt like it could have used a little bit more oomph there. I just, like, not in the guy himself, but just having, like, another thing at the top. And I thought that something would happen with Kira gameplay-wise at the end there. Like, maybe she comes in as a playable unit in, like, the ultimate final phase or something like that, or appears on the map, or I don't know. It's not that big a deal with that. It makes sense, the direction that they went with that storytelling-wise, but part of me was expecting, there's gotta be something else that goes on here, whether it's something with Kira or, like, death itself or another phase. But, like, the whole insane amount of health that he had, and there being two of them that you're attacking, and they're shifting positions, and there's a few reinforcements coming in without it being overbearing, and the different positions that you have to assume, or else you assume instant death. I thought that was actually cool. I thought that was actually, like, a cool, meaningful final boss gameplay-wise with that. I do think that there probably could have been a few more reinforcements, because it was essentially just those that are still on the map that you haven't already dealt with, like, say, from the top, those two wizards that screwed me a little bit. And then from the bottom, like, there was all these spots around that all had, like, the same effect, and I thought, oh, this means that they can be appearing from there, and they're appearing in sets of 2. But it was only ever that one set of 2 from that one location. It would have been kind of cool if, like, every other turn, it's like, a set of 2 appears over here, a set of 2 appears over here, a set of 2 appears over here. And then that kind of mixes things up a little bit, rather than it always being out the bottom there. I thought that would have made it a little bit more engaging. But that was honestly more engaging than I think a Fire Emblem final boss has been for me for a decent while now. What with the whole change up your positioning, change up your strategy, there's some other wrenches being thrown in the works here. I generally liked it. So there's some minor things that I would change about it, but I generally like that there. But yeah, let's see here. I think the data Chip got from my Deity max mode run probably helped him figure out the demonic mode stuff. No confirmation, just a hunch. Fair enough there. Can always ask him about it at some point. Because, good God, Deity max mode was lunatic plus levels of tedious, but I showed it was possible, huh? They're keeping their cards close for Dark Deity 3. Sure seems like. Maybe I should keep an eye out for when they're looking for people to be involved in that, in terms of I'm always looking for any opportunities for any voice-related stuff. Maybe if they're ever looking for people for that game, I should throw my hat into the ring. I think I jokingly said that to Chip when I was playing Civilization 6 against him. He was like, well, whenever it's open, if you want to try out, you can. And I never realized that it was open with this game, and yeah, oops. But maybe if I'm a little bit more on top of seeing, like, oh, Dark Deity 3 is announced, and they're working on that, and they're looking for people to voice, and I would totally do an audition. And then if I ever do a playthrough, I could be like, hey, look, I'm random NPC in the corner. That'd be cool. I don't know. I won't have any expectations of anything like that, but if I'm a little bit more on top of seeing what the heck is going on, I will definitely do an audition and see what happens. So, Chip, if you're ever checking this out down the line and seeing what my full review of this game is, I'm going to be keeping my eye out for opportunities with that there, because I would very much be intrigued. I think I've probably gotten through all the stuff that I wanted to say gameplay-wise here, most likely. So yeah, I had a lot of positive things to say about the gameplay. When it came to Dark Deity 1, I generally had fun with the gameplay, but it felt like it was very much the first run there, and there was a lot of things to be learned, and there was a lot of clunkiness that obviously got patched later. But at the time, I was like, you know what? That was fun, that was something different, but it's a little rough around the edges. Whereas this is like, oh, look at all this stuff that I wish was in the series that this was, like, inspired from. You know, this was actually really quite cool, and now part of me is wondering if I'm going to be a little bit disappointed when I play whatever the next new Fire Emblem game is going to be, if it keeps on being as weird of a mixed bag as something like Three Houses Are Engaged, where it's like, so many Fire Emblem games keep on doing, like, all this stuff right, and then, like, this handful of stuff wrong. And so I always have a hard time saying what my favorite Fire Emblem game is, because that's the case with, like, every Fire Emblem I play. So much good, but, like, a decent handful of stuff that's so royally messed up. Whereas with this, I feel like there wasn't too much that was, like, super royally messed up in that sense, and it was just consistently quality and fun, and I kind of enjoyed it and stuff. Anyway, I think that's all the stuff that I wanted to mention about the gameplay. The other aspects here, the music. I thought it was a lot better than Dark Deity 1. With Dark Deity 1, I felt like there were some themes in there that I thought were really good, like Edge of Ascension. But for the most part, to me, it kind of felt like, hey, it gets the job done, but it's not really going to be anything that's all that memorable. And I mean, with this game, there wasn't really much in the way of themes that were so standout that it's going to be something that I'd be humming to myself, like, after the fact or anything like that. But they were consistently like, ooh, that's pretty good. And not even just the battle themes, but even just, like, the characters talking with one another kind of themes, the background themes like that. There was many points throughout this where I was consistently thinking, when the day comes that I resume my Minecraft series on my channel, where I'm just, you know, putting whatever music over it, I could see myself putting, like, some of the music from this game over my gameplay as I'm going and, like, building stuff around the hideaway and stuff like that in that series. Like, it was actually some pretty nice themes that I thought were really quite good. Again, like, I don't think that there was anything that was, like, so mind-blowing that I would be, like, humming it on my own time or going out of my way to be listening to it on repeat or anything like that, but it was like, you know, that's pretty good. That's pretty solid, and I can very much see myself using it in videos like my Minecraft series, because it was actually really quite good and atmospheric and cool and stuff. Oh, here's a complaint I can make about the UI. Her staff is blocking her name. So I quite like the music there. I was quite surprised when I heard Edge of Ascension at the end there. And then you have, like, the more intense version of Edge of Ascension that comes in, and it's like, ooh, okay, that's cool. Edge of Ascension was definitely my favorite theme in Dark Deity 1. So hearing, like, the harder version coming in. During Phase 1, I had to ask myself, since I just listened to Edge of Ascension earlier today, since it was the whole starting screen music that I chose for this stream. At the beginning, I had to ask myself, wait, is this literally just, like, a raw rip from Dark Deity 1, or is it, like, slightly modified? And I couldn't quite tell. If I listened to both of them back-to-back, I'd be able to tell. But later on, when it got more intense, it's like, okay, yeah, now it's definitely something I knew. And I dug that. That was cool. That was quite nice there. So, yeah, that's stuff that I wanted to say about the music. So, any longtime viewers of this channel might be hearing music from this game again in the future. I mean, not everything can be the Night Rain OST. Seriously, that might be my favorite game OST ever now. That the OST is pretty good. And, like, that's fair. I didn't go into this expecting it to be, like, a standout masterpiece of a game or anything. Or masterpiece of a game. Masterpiece of a soundtrack or anything. But I thought it was really good, and I very much intend on using soundtrack from this game in the future here. Art style. I thought it was good. I quite liked it. Again, I love the 3DS kind of style of Fire Emblem games where it's like you have the 2D sprites on the map, but like in conversations you have like the super clean, like drawn out anime characters and stuff like that. I'm sure that's what this art style was inspired by with both Dark Deity 1 and this game. And I like it. I honestly do like it. You have like the weapons and stuff here and the runes that are pixelated and so much clean pixel art and stuff. I like it. I do generally like that. Having a world map and showing like where these things are taking place on the world map, I think that contributes well to the world building and is kind of cool. I just don't understand why there's this weird border around the edge of the map where it's like a different shade. Like this looks almost like it would be like some sort of issue that was kept in accidentally, or like you were only meant to scroll up to like this corner being in the bottom right corner. It feels like it was some sort of weird mistake that was kept in, and it's been one of those like small little OCD things that has been bugging me this entire playthrough. I'm gonna be honest. This game is just so consistently good. Yeah, I feel like it generally is. So, yeah, there was that bit there that I felt was a little bit off. As we kind of lead into the discussion about the story stuff here, I can also mention when it comes to the art style. I did really like the handcrafted, like, art thingamabobs. They work great as thumbnails, too. And, I thought those were really cool. The backgrounds were really beautiful, when our characters are in conversation and it's showing backgrounds and stuff like that. But I do feel like there is a major issue this game suffers from in its cutscenes. And it's the same issue that one of my favorite strategy games suffered from, being Triangle Strategy. Triangle Strategy was a really cool game with, honestly, like a really cool story that was super grounded in reality for a fictional world, with like some of the most realistic motivations for all the different forces at play that I think I've seen in a video game in a long time. Like, it was really, really cool. So it told like a really, really cool story that was so grounded in reality that it had me interested with, like, the different characters' motivations when the main thing that everyone is scrambling over is access to these salt mines, because otherwise this one kingdom has an exclusive monopoly on this resource, and it really goes to show how important a resource like salt that we kind of take for granted really is, and what wars can be waged over for that kind of thing. And like, it makes you think that there's like some big hidden away thing in this cave that this one faction is trying to take control of, like some sort of mystical artifact or something like that, like many other fictional stories, some sort of divine power. Turns out it's salt, and it just threatens the monopoly of this other kingdom that harvests it. As like, wow, that's really cool. And so it's a game that very much makes like worldly kind of political arguments about like the nature of our world and like motivations for stuff like resources and all that. Like, it makes some very interesting arguments. It does some very interesting things. So because of that, its cutscenes are oftentimes very long. But its cutscenes, it's an HD 2D game, so it's similar to Octopath Traveler. So its cutscenes are just like very clean looking pixel characters, but just them as is kind of standing around talking with one another. And sometimes you have like the slight shifts in the way that they look, like, oh, this little sprite of a character is shifted to like eyes closed and scratching chin or something like that. But there's really not that much visual engagement. Like, the characters themselves look really nice, and the backgrounds look really nice, the fire and stuff like that, all the cool things that you have going on in the HD 2D games. But, you know, you look at it for a little bit, and it's not really going to carry you through like a 3 to 5 minute cutscene or something like that, as the characters are just talking with one another, and it just looks basically the same. There really isn't that much visual engagement. And I don't know if I'm just saying that because it's like modern perspective from someone that's been taught by the modern internet that I need to be constantly having like engagement to keep me going. Like, Triangle Strategy needs Subway Surfers gameplay on the side, or Minecraft parkour to keep me engaged. But I do wish that there was like more stuff going on to keep me engaged there. Like, if I'm thinking about a game that I'm really going to enjoy the cutscenes of, I'll think of something like the Xenoblade Chronicles games or something like that, where it's like, you know, there's characters talking and having these important conversations, but like the beautiful animation of their faces and their actions and all this stuff is like this really clear visual engagement that, as someone that really enjoys animation, I really quite enjoy. So with Triangle Strategy there, even though the cutscenes and the subject matter itself was genuinely really interesting, it would get really boring just because there's basically nothing happening on the screen. You may as well close your eyes and be like listening to an audiobook. So that's something that I felt like was similar for this game as well, where it's like, hey, the character arts that are talking there are all like really clean and well made. The backgrounds are really beautiful. But I can only be staring at that for so long before like my brain is like, okay, I'm not really all that engaged here. I may as well just be listening. And while my camera is off, my microphone is muted, I'm just letting cutscenes play out. Honestly, during a lot of them, I would whip up my phone, I would check my email. This is a game where I noticed if I alt-tab, it doesn't pause it. There's a lot of games where if they're full screen and I alt-tab off, it pauses the game. This one, it doesn't. It keeps it playing, and Game Capture keeps capturing it. I would alt-tab off, and I would edit stuff from previous streams. Like, obviously not stuff that needs audio. I wouldn't be cutting things up into parts. But things like making thumbnails and setting up descriptions and tags, I would do that sometimes during the cutscenes of this game. I don't think I've mentioned that before. And I would just look over at my other screen at OBS here, where I generally see what's going on of characters talking to one another, and I'm paying attention, like, audio-wise. But there really wasn't enough just on-screen visually to keep me going. And I mean, maybe it's fine for those playing casually that can just easily alt-tab off and do something else, or, you know, go, I don't know, play on their Switch or their phone or something like that. Or maybe not everyone is as brain rot as me and needing engagement and can just like fully focus like that. Or maybe you just want to close your eyes and listen to it and you get the gist. So, like, there's not really that much that you can do about it in terms of adding more visual engagement in a game like this without like super inflating the budget, I think. But I do think that even though there was like some really good writing in this game, if there was a way to potentially condense it a little bit more, just so that it keeps me going before it's like, okay, I've been staring at this scene for like the past like 3 to 4 minutes, just completely unchanging. There's only so long that I can stare at before I go bug-eyed. You know, if we get to the point a little bit faster, it might benefit from that. Like, that's kind of what I felt like with Triangle Strategy, where it's like, hey, the subject matter really interesting. I think it's really fascinating and really cool to explore. But I just can't stay engaged with it. I don't know if that's just a me thing, but that's kind of the way that I felt. Me who listened intently to all the cutscenes. Yeah, I'm sure it varies from person to person, but that's very much what I felt, where it's like, it's just so many minutes, like, or especially stuff like that at the end, where a lot of this stuff at the end, these cutscenes are getting really long, and I stared the whole time, fair enough. But there would be conversations where it's going on for, feels like, 5-10 minutes of just basically unchanging background and stuff like that. Again, backgrounds are beautiful, the character arts were really well done, but when it's going on for a really long time like that, it can be hard to stay engaged visually. I feel like if I wasn't a content creator and just playing this on my own time, I would have opened either something on the side, or I would have just like leaned back, closed my eyes, and just treated it like an audiobook and just like chilled out for a hot second. Is what I might have done. So that's something that I felt with it. With the story, I thought that it was kind of interesting how at first it's like, hey, things are okay. We don't have like an immediate call to action kind of thing in the sense of a traditional story where it's like call to action, rising action, and all of that. It's like, hey, we get to see what life is generally like here, where there's like the mini call to actions of the different things around the world that kind of help with the world building and showing what the Order is all about. Going out and doing all these missions that they've been sent on, so it contributes to that, and like you get to see a little bit of what's going on with some of the big players as you're encountering characters like Mikhail and Viserion and stuff like that. So while contributing to the overall narrative in that kind of sense, there's a part of me that prefers it that way, and there's a part of me that would prefer like one central focused plot that goes on all the way through that I could, get behind. So I can't really offer an opinion one or the other way because like, there's merits to both, and I did kind of generally like what was going on here. Though again, there's a voice in the back of my head saying like, if there was just one kind of main thing that focused on throughout, maybe I would have been a bit more engaged. But I mean, the subplots on their own I thought could be kind of interesting, like this stuff where it's like, who do you side with all this stuff here in the beginning across the 3 factions. Oh, that's another thing that I forgot to mention gameplay wise, the different choices where it's like none of them are going to lead to a bad ending. I liked how at the end there it showed the results of your different actions and stuff like that. The actual rewards themselves are a little bit different if you only clear about the gameplay benefits. That was kind of a cool thing. And then there's also some replay value with the different routes where it's like, hey, none of them is a wrong option. It's just, what do you want to do here? I thought that was kind of cool. And seeing the characters' impressions, their takes, whatever the word would be, their reactions to the different routes that you're taking here in the world around them and all that. But yeah, Leonid starts his conquest after we start. But yeah, I thought that those could be kind of interesting, and I wish the Shamrock did a little bit more later in the plot as opposed to nothing in that one chapter. I assume that What's-Her-Face that we killed would come and try to help out if we killed the Shamrock or something like that. But yeah, choices you make do actually affect the story in little ways and change the epilogue. And yeah, I like that with, the different stuff at the end. Oh yeah, and I liked how the voice actors all said what happened to their characters at the end. Some of them like write in their character voices, others in like a little bit more of a natural voice, and then it kind of peels back the curtain a little bit and feels like we're truly looking at these characters from an outsider's perspective as they're now speaking in the third person in some slightly different tones. I thought that was kind of cool. I enjoyed that. Because I forgot to mention that earlier. With the story here, with all the different subplots that was jumping around, it did make it feel a little bit difficult for me at times to be following the overall narrative that was going on. Like, of course, I got the general gist, but like all the little intricacies and all these different kingdoms and stuff like that, like when one specific place would be referenced later in the story, I'd be like, where again? Like, again, maybe that's just because of like, maybe the cutscenes were the way that they were and I was shift-tabbing off and not paying as much attention as I should have been. So maybe that's on me. But some of the intricacies of this world, I would sometimes feel a little bit lost on outside of, the main details. And I can just get the main details and enjoy, like, the general gist of the story just fine. But I feel like I didn't fully understand the full, like, geopolitical landscape in this game. And maybe that wasn't the intention. Maybe this isn't, like, a triangle strategy situation where that's actually, like, super important to the plot. So maybe it's not a big deal. But also just Elizabeth Maxwell giving the best performance I've ever seen her give as Gwyn. Yeah, if I didn't mention before with the voice acting, I thought it was fantastic with this game. Oh, one other complaint that I can offer, though. I do think that the audio leveling wasn't always the best. It felt like there was times where it was just fine, and I could clearly hear the characters over the music, and there was other times where it felt like it's a little bit quieter. There's these two characters chatting back and forth, and this character is clearly more quiet than this character. Like, the audio wasn't quite adjusted right. Or, like, take the final battle there, for example. Chatting with the Orlov there, as, like, Edge of Ascension, like, really picks up in volume when he's chatting with Alden. And it's like, what? I can't hear you. Thank goodness for subtitles. So I do wish the audio leveling was a little bit better in this game. Because there was, like, for the most part, most of the time, it was fine. It wasn't like a Xenoblade Chronicles X Wii U situation where people were just, like, impossible to hear, like, 90% of the time. I swear the original version of that game, the audio leveling is, like, the worst thing I've ever seen in a video game before. So, you know, it wasn't constant, but there was definitely instances where some bits felt a little bit quieter and like I was struggling to hear, and I wish that the audio leveling was a little bit more touched up. Yeah. With the plot there, it does very much feel like there is going to be something a little bit more, what with the whole themes of, like, death itself that a deal was brokered with. Again, with me feeling like there might have been, like, another face to that battle there. And, I mean, even if death itself is what we're building up towards for, like, Dark Deity 3 or whatever the heck here, we could have still faced, like, maybe a minor version of it, or had, like, you know, a Deltarune Chapter 3 Black Knife situation where it's like, you can do basically a version of this boss now, but eventually it's like, hey, nope. You've kind of injured me, so, like, you've kind of semi-defeated me, but I'm showing that I'm clearly more powerful than you, and I'm out of here. And the heroes are like, oh crap, I guess we can't deal with that right now, but I guess we don't have to. Like, the main thing that we came here to do is done. You know, that would have set things up really well, and really made me intrigued to be like, huh, how powerful is this dude? And how powerful are we gonna get in the next game here and stuff? In terms of other stuff with the story, I appreciated how we're following up after Dark Deity 1, and we have some familiar characters like Irving and Alden and Irving's kids and stuff like that, and seeing the future of this all. But there wasn't a reliance on the plot of Dark Deity 1. Like, you can absolutely go in and play this game and not know any of these characters. Like, there wasn't an over-reliance on knowledge of Dark Deity 1's plots and, like, nostalgia for its characters or anything like that to be able to get behind this. It very much told a story that was self-contained. Of course, with plenty of references to Dark Deity 1, but it didn't rely on Dark Deity 1 at any point, I felt like. So, that was something that I appreciate about the story here. Fun to see Alden and Irving grown up, and it was also interesting to show the perspective of, like, hey, not everything just worked out hunky-dory, like Marin's not in the picture, for example, and, you know, there's a little bit of, what would the word be? A little bit of tension there would maybe be the word. So, showing that it's not exactly just like a fairy tale ending for all the characters before. It feels a lot more grounded in reality in that sense. Another thing for grounding in reality, Reardon's death and stuff like that, showing the character that was always joking around, but, you know, at his heart was, like, very serious and would be trying to joke around to help lift up his allies' spirits while feeling like, what is he really contributing, and trying to do what he could, and ultimately doing what he could, and, you know, the whole fate of him and stuff like that. I felt like it did serve the plot well there. As I mentioned before, I thought that it was kind of interesting how, when we're going to go kill Kira, the approach that's taken is, like, killing her won't bring him back and deciding to spare her. And then the immediate next foe that we face, Mikhail, is just immediately cut down. And I thought that the plot was going to do some things with Gwyn that it didn't end up doing. When she killed him and she was like, that felt good, it's like, oh no, are we going down, like, a dark path of becoming, like, too lost in the bloodlust? And that's something that Reardon's death is going to serve to the plot, is putting Gwyn down, like, this darker path where she doesn't see the light in people as much anymore and learns to see it more. I feel like maybe it would have been better served if maybe after Reardon's death, Mikhail was our first foe. She cuts him down and is like, that felt good. And then by the time we get to Kira, she has, like, a little bit more of a change of heart. Like, killing her won't bring him back. Like, losing a little bit of that bloodlust and having a little bit of character development at the end. So, that one line in particular of that felt good, I thought was going to be really telling of, like, this bloodlust is going to overtake her and, like, partially already has, and she's not listening to reason as much. but that's not really the direction that things went in. Like, of course we killed, like, the main big bad at the end and stuff like that, but I felt like if maybe order of things was changed around there a little bit. Like, what if Reardon's death, then, like, we kill Mikhail and super brutally there, and then we face off against, like, Mr. Big Bad Dudo there, but then Kira gets there, like, the events haven't happened with us sparing her before, and then she's, like, the true final phase, final boss in, like, a desperate attempt to do what she thinks would have made her father proud, or something or other, and then it's, like, right at the end of the game that we decide to spare her, and then there's, like, some character development in not holding those responsible that they shouldn't be held responsible, or not to the same extent, and knowing mercy and stuff like that, then maybe it would have been able to play into those themes. But as is, it felt like, okay, why exactly are we going down the plot line of it seeming like she's overcome by bloodlust, but then isn't really the case? If order of events was done a little bit different there, maybe it could have been interesting in that sense. I don't know how the plot would look like that. I think I personally would have been a little bit more intrigued if it was something like that. And then we would have had, like, an extra phase that I wanted at the end there, and something that would be maybe really symbolic as we kind of see, like, the conclusion of the parallel between these two parallel characters that the game clearly drew similarities to throughout, and would have been potentially a fitting climax. I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. I think that's probably the way that I would have personally preferred it. If I was writing the story, I probably would have handled it something like that, but that's just me. So, the story I thought was intriguing, did some interesting things, but I might have changed it up a little bit, and, you know, it was enough to keep me going throughout the game and stuff, though, and want to see what happens here. So, generally, I really like that game. I think that its strongest suit is definitely the gameplay. I think that is the thing that I had the most, like, enjoyment with here, but yeah. Oh yeah, that is, I guess I forgot about that bit there. But still, I think if you change out order of events and then have, like, versus Kira be, like, the final encounter, it would feel more fitting story-wise, gameplay-wise. These are the two that are literally on, like, the cover of the game here. If this is, like, the final conclusion, and it's, like, then we have the change of heart and, you know, become a little bit more grounded there. Would that be the right term there? I don't know. It might serve the character arc a little bit better, where it's like, kill Mikhail, kill Daddy Orlov, and then face Kira, who's trying, like, desperately to, where maybe that's the instance where she's given up, rather than her being like, I'm gonna stay here and go look for my mother. Well, she didn't say that. It's like, you're not guessing what I'm gonna do here. You're not allowed to guess. I'm staying here. That being, like, the sense of her giving up. Maybe, you know, you face her, and she's facing you down, figuring, like, hey, I'm doing this because I think it's what would make my father proud, but what else do I have to lose at this point? Everything's been taken from me. I have no reason not to do this. Like, if I'm cut down here, then whatever. And then that being the instance of sparing her and giving her something to live for, and having a conversation with her there. Maybe that would have been something meaningful. That would have been interesting to see. That was another plot thread that I guess the game kind of leaves open at the end, is what exactly happened with her? What was going on? I thought there might be something in the epilogue there, but there wasn't anything. Oh, and another thing that was never really quite properly delved into is what the heck is going on with Arthur and him being, like, super special and all that, and having these special powers and hearing things that no one else hears and being able to see the paths that no one else sees. Like, I thought that that was going to come into play during the final boss, during, like, a big reveal where he saves the day with, like, these special powers of his, and the game says exactly what he is, and why all these other characters are so interested in keeping an eye on him for, like, their own purposes because of all the special stuff he's got going on. But it never really did that, so I don't know if that would be a thing that is also being left open to Dark Deity 3. Like, Dark Deity 1 felt a lot more conclusive, things are wrapped up. This game is like, hey, there's a conclusion to this general story, but it looks like we're leaving some plot threads open, like this stuff with Arthur and, you know, death itself and all that stuff, so. And it directly saying at the end there, like, oh yeah, the stuff in Azrael isn't over yet, so I guess there is most likely plans and all that. But yeah, I mean, they did go into it. The point was it didn't matter why he could do those things. Did it go into it? Am I dumb? Like, from what I was able to interpret of the story and pick up along the way, I didn't really see them go into what it was, what made him what he was. It was just like, not entirely sure who his true parents are, where he came from, why he has these powers and stuff. Probably give an answer in Dark Deity 3. I would imagine so, but yeah, that's what I felt about that. I think that's probably everything that I want to say. If there's anything that I forgot to say, then I can always put it in, like, description of the video afterwards or a pinned comment or something like that. I think I have said all the things here. Oh yeah, I guess there's that and stuff, but there do be that, and I'm asking Arthur, like, who truly am I? And all that, but I guess that be true. But it would have been interesting to have some sort of answer or hint along the way, even if it's something that just the player gets, like the audience, and not the characters in-game. You find out something in the epilogue or something, I don't know. We'll probably get into it there. Know a few things that would explain a few things better. Insider information. Anyway, just some of my interpretations about the story and all that. So, yeah, that was Dark Deity 2. It is currently 4:16 in the morning on the 9th of July here. I've been streaming for about 6 hours, a little bit under that. Yeah. I probably should have started streaming earlier, but as I mentioned earlier, I was so tired from working in the garden in the blazing heat for hours today, and got home, ate food, power napped, and then started stream. So I think that power nap probably gave me the fuel to be able to get through this and stuff like that. And yeah, that's fair enough. Don't have to there. I can just, like, bait Chip into playing Civilization 6 with me again, and then invade his cities with my joke religion again, and then force him to tell me all the answers under threat of turning all his citizens into my faith and purging his faith of Final Fantasy XIV. Anyway, I guess that's what I should probably call it here. So that concludes Dark Deity 2. If there's stuff with a third game, I'll keep an eye out for that in the future and see where things go. Again, I generally really quite enjoyed this. And yeah, we'll see what the future of stuff here ends up looking like. In terms of other strategy games going on here, the next strategy game that I'd end up playing would probably end up being, well, you know, another Fire Emblem game and all that. And the most likely candidate next game is probably going to be Path of Radiance, honestly. Considering the different Fire Emblem games that I want to play. The one that I'm leaning most towards doing next is probably Path of Radiance. So, I don't know, maybe keep an eye out for a Path of Radiance playthrough one of these days. But until next time, take care and see you